Reese, thanks, and welcome to Mobile, Alabama, under a full moon with balmy coastal breezes. The GMAC Bowl, the 4th edition from Ladd Peebles Stadium. Number 24 Marshall looking for its 11th win of another successful MAC championship season for the Thundering Herd. They meet from Conference USA 7-5 Louisville. Tonight a matchup at quarterback between two of the best seniors in the country. Dave Ragone 3 times now Conference USA Offensive Player of the Year. Byron Leftwich, the all-time leading passer in MAC history, and this year the nation's total offense leader. And Byron, a moment ago, spoke with Dr. Jerry Punch.
Well, thanks, Dave. Byron, last year you were a major part of this miracle in Mobile, and remarkable 56 points in the second half. But how do you think this one tonight will unfold?
You know, hopefully it unfolds. We, score one more point than Louisville. We know nothing we did last year going to carry over to this year. We got to come out and play for 4 quarters and try to dominate and try to win this game.
We've seen you limping down the practice and limping onto the field here a moment ago. How much pain and limitation do you have with that left leg?
I have some pain. I have some limitations, but, it's my last one. This is my last time I'm ever be able to put on this green jersey and play for Marshall, so I'm going to make the most out of it.
You refused to leave last summer for the NFL, saying you wanted to come back and play one more year with these guys. Well, this is the last game with these guys. What does this game mean to you?
It means a lot to me. I came in with those guys in '98, and it shows that I'm going to leave with these guys in '98. And we're going to try to, make the best out of it, and we're going to try to go out on top tonight.
Well, young man, you're an All-American when it comes to football, but you are all-world when it comes to character. Congratulations on a great career, and good luck tonight.
Thanks for everything, man.
Dave?
All right, Jerry. And again, welcome to Mobile. Dave Barnett, Phil Curry, Mike Golick. I hope Marshall fans savor every last second tonight, because they will no longer see Byron Leftwich in the green and white after tonight, and they may never have another better one at quarterback.
They can savor it tonight, and they can savor it forever. I get excited just talking about Byron Leftwich. I've been around a lot of good quarterbacks. I've been around football a long, long time, and the game this young man played in this bowl game a year ago is the finest performance I have ever seen by a college quarterback. He is utterly focused on one thing, and that's the next play. He never changes expression, and all he does is find a way to beat you. If I'm playing football, I want this guy on my side, Mike.
I tell you what, and the same goes for Dave Ragone in Louisville. He is the leader of this team. 255-pounder, was sacked 43 times this year, hit probably 200 more times, but he gets right back up, gets in the huddle, stands in the pocket, and makes that throw. Everybody knows he is the leader of that team. We have the matchup here in the booth with the bobbleheads and the matchup down in the field as well, Dave.
And this game was all about fireworks last year. A bowl record 125 points scored by Marshall in East Carolina. How many tonight? Ladd Peebles Stadium is sold out, 40,000 seats here for Marshall and Louisville, the GMAC Bowl. Night 2 of the bowl season, and we're glad you could be with us. Can't ask for much better weather. It was about 70 degrees today, in the 60s, just a slight coastal breeze in Mobile, Alabama. Bob Pruitt, 7th year as the head coach of the Thundering Herd. Since 1997, the winningest program in Division 1A, 64-13. And he heads them in their 6th consecutive bowl. Meanwhile, John L. Smith in his 5th year, 40-20 as the head man of the Cardinals. Although he calls this his season from hell. They had problems from the beginning. They had high highs, like a win over number 4 Florida State, and low lows, and they finished the season on one of those, an inexplicable loss at the University of Houston. So they try and erase that memory and close with an upset over Marshall for their 8th win of the year. 19 yards, all they have averaged allowing per return, tops in Conference USA. Marshall has won the toss. They received Nate Smith's kick with Roberto Terrell back along with Chris Royal. And at the 2, fumbled before Royal can pick it up. And that's how Louisville compiled such impressive special team numbers. They'll start from the 10-yard line, and Byron Leftwich will start his final game in a Thundering Herd uniform. Senior from Washington, D.C. leads this Thundering Herd starting lineup, brought to you by 1-800.
Watch number 40, Darius Watts, leading receiver, one of the leading receivers with 68 catches for 998 yards from College Park, Georgia, my hometown.
Butchie Wallace in the backfield along with Leftwich at 366 total yards per game, the nation's leader. And Wallace off tackle, gain of about 7. The 1-800-CALL AT&T offensive line starters for Marshall. Shulo in his 52nd consecutive start, the longest streak in the nation, one of the longest ever.
Keep an eye on Dwayne White, number 99, the career leader for Louisville with 55 tackles behind the line and 36.5 sacks. He loves playing in the opponent's backfield.
Dwayne White with 36.5 for his career, 9.5 second in Conference USA this year, despite being banged up to the point that he was barely able to practice the last several weeks. So Wallace gets 7 yards on first down, and out of the gun as Leftwich figures to be all night. First strike of the night, De Niro Marriott at the 37-yard line, the senior from Inwood, West Virginia, with a first down. Coverage by Chris Johnson. Linebackers for Louisville, Robert McCune makes just his 2nd career start. And the final game for a 4-year starter, a 2-year Captain Brown. In the secondary, Burns, their leading tackler, with 111 stops, also blocked 3 punts. And Louisville has a terrific punt blocking unit as well. This for Marriott, and incomplete.
Well, no doubt we keep an eye on Byron Leftwich, and you'll see all night long that shin of his, the left shin. He's got heavily taped. It almost makes you hurt watching him hobble around, but a lot of it is not the pain so much as the brace goes down into his shoe. So it's a larger shoe that he's wearing on his left foot, and it just doesn't have the mobility to plant and to turn. So it looks very, very awkward when he's throwing the ball. But boy, he still gets it there.
Yeah, it looks awkward till he throws it.
Size 10 on one side, size 13 on the other. But he makes it work all day. Fires another strike for Marriott. Still on his feet and finally dragged down at the 17-yard line of Louisville.
Well, the last 2 plays is a perfect example. That sequence is a perfect example of the way Leftwich functions.
Oh,
got
boy.
a holding. It's going to come back, but let me finish this thought because it's very important. De Niro Marriott dropped the ball on the previous pass. A little slip screen. He put the ball on the ground. Leftwich comes right back to him. He never changes expression with a drop ball. He doesn't get disgusted. He doesn't jump on the guy. He simply comes back with the next play. And in this case, he has his man for a long gain if we don't get this hold. Yeah, I'd say that's a little bit of a hold.
Tries to take him down. That was Nate McPeak with the hold on Dwayne White. Boy, that'll cost you, but I bet we see that play again.
Well, that in effect is about a half the length of the field penalty. Would have had it around the 17, instead back at their own 27-yard line for 2nd down and 20. And Leftwich again with plenty of time. And again dropped by Marriott. So he has caught 2 and dropped 2. Right between the 1 and the 3 on that one, and it's 3rd and 20.
And what receivers and the rest of your teammates have to do when you have a quarterback who's hobbling around, you have to help him out. And the way you help him out is catch the ball and hit you in the numbers. Don't let it hit your numbers and drop off. What Louisville's doing on defense, if we take a look at Marriott, is they're going to rush 3 and drop 8. They're going to say, we know Leftwich isn't going to scramble around. We'll rush 3. We'll give our guys a chance to get there. Sometimes we'll bring 4. We'll play a man free. We'll play a little zone. We'll try and make it a little different for him, make him find his receiver, but they know where he's going to be, right in the middle of the pocket.
4-man rush. Leftwich puffing again for Marriott in a diving attempt, and he would have had the first down off his hands. He had beaten Chris Johnson again, so Leftwich going for Marriott and only Marriott, and 3 off his hands, and they'll have to kick it away.
So many times we say we don't have a play for 3rd and 20. Well, Marshall has a play for 3rd and 20. And all they had to do was catch the football. There were 12 drops in last year's game. Does not faze Leftwich. He keeps coming at you.
Curtis Head, first-team All-MAC punter and place kicker. Oh, and this is why. Robert Haskins chased back to his 20. And a return of 13 yards. So Dave Ragone now starting his final game in a Cardinal uniform out of Middleburg Heights, Ohio. 55% passer with 23 touchdowns and 10 interceptions. Led the conference in passing again. The 1-800 call, AT&T backs and receivers for the Cardinal. With Gates getting a start, Jones getting a start, and Slatter with Owens in the 2 tight end set. Jones mainly in the starting lineup because he's playing in his hometown of Mobile, product out of St. Paul's High School. Lionel Gates to the far side in a gain of a couple. Sophomore from Jacksonville, Florida, their 4th leading rusher, but he gets the start tonight. And the offensive line featuring 1 starter from a year ago, that's Coons. The other's lack of experience leading to 43 sacks of Ragone. Up front for Marshall. Washington, Brown, Martin all picked 2nd team All-MAC this year. Ragone's toss on 1 hop. Not really close to Antoine Harris, and it'll be 3rd and 8. The linebackers include Smith, the MAC's leading tackler. Average game for him, 12.5 stops this year. Tynes and Wilson on either side.
And in the secondary, watch Terrence Tarpley. He's the rover. He moved over from corner. He's not a big guy, but he packs a wallop.
Out of the gun, Ragone. Needing the 43, and in single coverage goes up the sideline and incomplete. Intended for J.R. Russell.
Nice coverage by Yancey Satterwhite. They were in man. He just came up, pressed hard, took him right down the sidelines. Good coverage, good first 3 and out for that Marshall defense, which has been susceptible to the run. So it'll be interesting with Ragone and the way he can throw the ball if they'll try and hammer it with the run a little more tonight.
Nate Smith, a show unto himself. He'll do it rugby style from time to time. He'll run and then he can kick with either foot, right-handed this time. Low liner, gets a little bit of a bounce, and then it backs up to the 26. So you won't want to turn your eye away from a Nate Smith punt tonight because you're never really sure what's going to happen. We are sure that Byron Leftwich and the Marshall offense will take to the field for the 2nd time. Just underway, scoreless in the GMAC Bowl in Mobile.
We welcome you back to the 4th annual GMAC Bowl, Ladd-Peebles Stadium here in Mobile, Alabama. Now, possibly some breaking news here. It's been reported moments ago that tomorrow morning, University of Louisville head coach John L. Smith will be asked to either accept or decline the head coaching position at Michigan State University. And word is on the Louisville sidelines that tomorrow morning he will indeed accept the spot and become the new head coach at Michigan State.
Well, and that puts even more importance from the Louisville perspective on this result tonight. If it is indeed the last time they have John L. Smith as their head coach. Brandon Carey on the carry. And that Michigan State job is one that they first looked to the NFL. Right. Marvin Lewis finally decided he didn't want it. They could do worse. I mean, if there is truth to this, they could do a lot worse than John L. Smith. Well,
he's done a good job at Louisville, and there's such a great tradition. I played with people like Bubba Smith and Herb Adderley, and outstanding players always at Michigan State.
I would say this would be 2 for 2 for me if it happened. I did John L. Smith's last game at Utah State in '97 in the Humanitarian Bowl.
You're chasing them all around the country.
Boy, I'll tell you what, if it were to happen again.
So if you want a job, you get Golick to do your game.
Off the hands of Darius Watts, incomplete. Jerry, what else do you have on that?
Guys, you know, John L. did not say anything to the team in the locker room prior to the game, and the feeling is that, first of all, he hasn't absolutely confirmed that he's taking the job. That's the belief here on the Louisville sideline. But also, he did not want to distract this football team because of what he may or may not do tomorrow morning. He wanted this football team to go out. They've earned it. They've struggled this year with 7 wins. He wanted them to get their 8th win here in this GMAC Bowl without a distraction about what could happen tomorrow to their head coach. So as of right now, he has not spoken with the team. I believe if if what I'm hearing may be correct, he may tonight when the game is over to talk about possible decisions tomorrow.
Michigan State at one point, like Louisville, ranked in the 15-16 range, and then their season imploded. Leftwich has to throw that one away in the area of Watts and helped up on 4th and 9. Dwayne White providing the pressure.
Yeah, again, he's not going to be moving around in that pocket. That offensive line knows it. They have to have great cuff protection and let Leftwich stay in that bubble there. You see awkward off the bat, and pressure comes straight up into him from Dwayne White.
They come after Curtis Head, and they will mark this one out of bounds somewhere around the 20. 24 to be exact. We expect a lot of offense. They will show up eventually. Nothing much yet, though. 11:05 in a scoreless first quarter in Mobile. Byron Leftwich has thrown 5 straight incompletions. He's 1 for 6, only 19 yards, and barely stayed upright on that one.
Jeff Edwards, the center, has a special responsibility. He cannot move and catch gun snaps off to this side of his body.
And then he gets the pressure straight up the middle, just where he can't have it. And well, boy, that's dumping. That's dumping him right there.
So Edwards' standard tonight, perfection. Ragone keeping. And out of bounds across the 30. You will never, ever see Dave Ragone take a slide.
No, and he's not looking to run out of bounds as a rule. I think he's maybe smartened up a little after the beating he took this year, but he is a tough guy. He takes on tacklers, and he can make people miss. He runs through tacklers.
He does. You know, he's not going to break that 50-yarder for a score, but he's going to get you that first down, and he's going to take somebody with him.
Marker down way across the field.
See Leftwich limping again. Some of it's pain, but most of that limp is because there's just no mobility with that brace he has that goes on down into his shoe. And he wears a tennis shoe on that left foot, not a cleat on this grass.
Replay first down.
He says he does that just for the comfort of having the tennis shoe on. And Bill, we saw him in pregame, and probably for the safety too of those cleats not digging into the turf and torquing on that shin.
Yeah, Jeff Edwards, the center, number 58, is one of the captains, and he has got to make those gun snaps totally accurate, even more so than usual tonight.
So back up for 1st and 15. And again, Ragone keeping. Before getting that one off.
That's going to be
between the tackles. That
Yep.
should be, and apparently will be, intentional grounding.
Good idea, but he needed to be outside that tackle box. That's going to be intentional grounding.
Well, there's going to be an offsetting foul, I think, against Marshall down here, unless it's an offensive foul in the secondary.
Yeah, Ragone was clapping, so it looks like that's what they're going to get.
Had 2 fouls on the play, had holding on the defense, intentional grounding on the offense. Those penalties offset. Replay first down.
Hey guys, all night we're going to have you project for both Ragone and Leftwich to an NFL quarterback. What you're looking
Exactly.
for.
I think he makes a pretty good decision, holds the ball for a while, as you saw on that play right there, but he does take a lot of hits.
I think the hits have caused him to make bad decisions like he just made there.
Lionel Gates looks for a cutback alley. And just to the 21, hit there by Jameis Martin. As we continue looking at Ragone.
Again, as what we'll think of being in the pros, I think he's got a good, strong arm, throws the ball well down the field. I give him an 8.
Not always accurate, and again, I'm going to say this every time because there's a caveat. He's hit so often with this offensive line that he hasn't had a chance to set his feet as he normally would. Yeah, and he can run through tackles. You don't need to say anything more. You're wrong about that. He's a heck of a runner.
But he can't break the big one. That's what I'm talking about. Again, we're projecting for the NFL.
2nd and 12. And across the middle to the 38-yard line. A first down catch for Antoine Harris, sophomore from Columbus, Ohio, hit by the safeties. Tarpley and Crocker, gain of 16.
Let's finish up the intangibles. He certainly has the abilities to play at the next level. No doubt about it. Strength, heart, desire, toughness, legs. Got it all, Bill.
Yep, he just got called for intentional grounding. He stepped up, stood in the pocket, and fired that quick post. Nice throw and catch.
Overall great. I think he'll be probably at best a 2nd rounder at this point unless he can move himself up in the draft.
Still looking for room for Gates. There has been none, and he swarmed for a loss of at least 5. Hit first by Terrence Tarpley. Roberto Terrell also up from the secondary.
It certainly has been an Achilles heel for this Marshall defense, stopping the run, and they're going to be tested tonight if Louisville's going to try and play a little smash mouth. But for Ragone, again, maybe a nice opportunity, Dave, for, Leftwich, all eyes on him, maybe being the top pick in the draft. Ragone with a showing right against Leftwich tonight, saying, wait a minute, guys, there's about 20 to 25 NFL scouts here tonight watching this game. There are a lot of eyes on both these guys.
Well, and if not tonight, he'll be back in this stadium next month for the Senior Bowl. This pass batted down at the line of scrimmage. Reggie Hayes, sophomore defensive tackle, Wilmington, North Carolina.
John Pettis, the offensive coordinator for Louisville, has as a plan tonight more 3-step drop, quick delivery passes, and run the football. So far, the running game hasn't given them very much, but the rhythm passing of Ragone is very accurate so far, as long as it doesn't get batted down.
4 wides, and Ragone under center for the snap on 3rd and 13. Batted down again, this time by Orlando Washington.
Well, this is a smart play by the D-line. And you said it, Bill, if they're going to the quick routes, 3-5-step throw on rhythm, D-linemen are taught if you're not going to get there, get in the line of the quarterback. Go look at his eyes, get in his sight, get in his vision, and time his throw with your jump. You know you're not going to get there. All right, you jump. You see him cock his arm. That's when you leave your feet. A nice block, 2 plays in a row.
I bet you got to block a bunch.
I did, because I rarely pass rush very well.
At the line of scrimmage.
With my 1-inch vertical.
Nate Smith. This time a nice big bounce and finally fielded by Josh Davis as he's retreating. And then forward to the 24. J.R. Russell on the tackle. 8:46 now, midway first quarter. And nothing. Just a total of 44 yards of offense at this point between the Cardinals and Thundering Herd.
ESPN2's exclusive presentation of the 2002 GMAC Bowl. Brought to you by GMAC, the financial services people from General Motors. And by 1-800-CALL-ATT for collect calls. It's free for you and cheap for them.
That's not too far from here. The Battleship Alabama, Mobile Bay. Tell you, I have enjoyed seeing this city, which I'd only really seen flying over it, driving by on I-10. There's a lot more Old South charm in Mobile, Alabama.
It's a wonderful place. A lot of wonderful people.
Well, Marshall outgaining the Cardinals 27-17. That's all the offense so far. And no gain on this completion to Josh Davis, the second leading receiver for Marshall. 73 catches, better than 1,100 yards coming in. Right on him was Curry Burns, strong safety.
The one thing you'll see with Leftwich, he will go short, he will go mid-range, and he will go long. He can do it all. But actually, his receivers have said they able to catch his passes a little better, the hard ones he throws, because he can't put as much zip on it now because of the shin injury.
They give Davis a yard. Leftwich feels the heat, goes down under Dwayne White, and make it 10.5 sacks for the junior from Marbury, Alabama.
Leftwich has a very difficult time moving. Dwayne White has excellent speed and quickness. They rushed 5 that time, and you see he is virtually planted to the ground. So when White gets there, he's not going to miss a sack. As a rule, Leftwich moves well in the pocket. Tonight, no way.
Offensive coordinator Mark McHale said they work an incredible amount of time on blitz pickup and working against stunts just to stop what happened to him right there. Normally, they do a better job of stopping those kind of stunts and blitzes.
So 3rd and 16. This time for Leftwich, caught over the middle by Josh Davis to the 43-yard line. Anthony Floyd has him there. Honorable mention, All-MAC sophomore from Hickory Grove, North Carolina, Josh Davis. With what's been a rarity so far, a first down.
Yeah, on the sack. Now this is a 2 deep, and you see the middle of the field is what's wide open on the 2 deep. Leftwich takes advantage, perfect throw and catch. This time there's a 4-man rush with 7 dropping. Excellent 3rd and 16 call.
25 yards worth. Leftwich gunning deep, and too deep this time for Davis. Incomplete. Leftwich down again, and a couple of times now he's been down.
And we got a flag down as well. Late flag. Roughing the passer on Louisville. Tom Ritter with the call.
And if you're a Marshall fan, you're going to hold your breath every time he even loses his balance tonight, much less takes a hit, much less a late hit.
Roughing the passer on the defense. 15-yard penalty. First down.
Now let's take a look at it. Again, you know where he's going to be. No rolling out.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You got to pull off on that.
Scott Lopez did not.
I tell you what,
I don't think anybody's intentionally hitting him late, but they got an SEC crew working this game, and they're not going to let that happen. They'll call it every time if you hit him late.
And Louisville is a team that gets called for a lot of penalties.
92 yards of penalties. John L. says it's been better in recent games, but if they crank it up again tonight, it's going to hurt them against this Marshall team.
And up against the play clock, which runs out on Leftwich. Nowhere near getting the snap. So we're midway through a scoreless first quarter. The 4th GMAC Bowl at Peebles Stadium holds 40,000. Every ticket sold for this one. Anticipated matchup of senior quarterbacks. Almost Heisman caliber, both of them. Byron Leftwich and Dave Ragone. Byron Leftwich was, as it turned out, 6th on the 5-man invite list to go to New York last weekend. And has had a run of 5 straight incompletions. He's just 3 for 9, as you see, 46 yards. Dave Ragone 1 of 5, 16 yards so far. Neither has hit a rhythm yet. The long out for Marriott. 2 feet in bounds, just needed 1 at the 25.
What just a fantastic throw. Again, Louisville in the zone. There's usually 4 or 5 spots in a zone defense that you can hit between short, medium, and long routes. And what a great job of just dropping it right in one of those zones. Deep out, in front of the safety, behind the linebackers. Boy, that is just fantastic.
Uncanny accuracy.
He hasn't been as accurate as usual so far tonight, but the thing is, he keeps coming at you. He's never discouraged. He never changes expression.
And at least 3 drops from Marriott. Hangs on to that one. Now Wallace. Turning forward inside the 15 to the 14-yard line.
Well, they can only hope they could do some of that, ranked 74th in the country in rushing.
Let's go down to Jerry Punch.
Guys, look at Byron Leftwich's left leg. The black thing you see him wearing, and the reason you heard Mike Golick mention about wearing an oversized sneaker, that is an air cast. That's actually an inflated air cast that's inside his shoe and all the way up in the front of his shin with a black sleeve over it. That air cast is there to provide compression. Compression will minimize the pain, but it will not be able to help him if he gets hit on that left leg as he did a moment ago on that late hit. And that obviously he's in pretty significant pain right now.
Nothing new for him, though. Shotgun draw, Wallace. And to the 10, a gain of 4. Franklin Butchie Wallace, 2nd leading rusher for the Herd. 539 yards coming in. Bob Pruitt says when he thinks about what Byron Leftwich has accomplished and what he's meant to their team, literally tears come to his eyes. All about how he can help the other 10 guys out there. Never thinking of himself. He will never forget that indelible image of his lineman carrying down the field so he could continue against Akron. Wallace with a gain of a yard. NFL doubleheader weekend coming up Saturday and Sunday. First Saturday, an ESPN primetime NFL doubleheader weekend beginning after NFL primetime at 8 with the Red Hot Eagles fighting for home field advantage in the playoffs against the Cowboys. And then Sunday night, the Jets against the Super Bowl champion Patriots. 8:30 Eastern, also available on ESPN Deportes. Watch NFL Primetime presented by Miller Lite at 7:30. Easily the deepest penetration by either team so far, and it's reached 3rd and 5 for Marshall from the 9. Leftwich to the end zone. Marriott, touchdown. So he'll celebrate as he limps off the field. Marriott beating Chris Johnson to get the herd on the board.
Boy, and Leftwich really looks like he is in some pain right now as Marriott hangs on to this one. Already had a couple of drops. Nice little push move to get the inside. Again, they find those holes so well, and they absolutely know that Leftwich is going to put it right on the mark most of the time.
Curtis Head adds the extra point. 7-0 Marshall. For Byron Leftwich, his 27th touchdown pass of the year, the 7th touchdown catch of the year. For the senior, Denaro Marriott. 7-0 herd. Leftwich limping all the way, takes Marshall 8 plays, 76 yards. He's 4 for 5 on the drive, the 9-yard touchdown to Marriott.
Certainly was in some pain after this one, Dave.
Now watch Shulo. He's over there. He's going to help him off the field. Byron doesn't need any help, but he's mad. Now watch what happened in the Akron game. Had about a 40-yard completion. They knew he wasn't going to get down there in time, so they just loaded him up and carted him down.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable courage and toughness and unbelievable relationship Byron Leftwich has with his teammates.
And it may come to that again tonight. Good deep kick by Head. Broderick Clark, the nation's leading kick returner. Oh, bam, down at the 17-yard line. Ended rather abruptly by DeMarcus Thomas.
Well, the average is 31 yards. Made it just over half of that, and then goodbye.
Now that is the way you cover a kickoff, Mr. Golan.
Absolutely right. I did that once in my career. Covered one kickoff in my pro career. Ran down, started to break down, and rolled my own ankle. And that was it.
I'm not laughing at you.
Oh, I am.
Actually, I am.
I tell you, these special teamers, man, they're a special breed.
Well, I covered a ton of them, and that's the way you do it.
Henry Miller into the backfield first time. Senior, has been the feature back for the Cardinals most of the year. Fake, and then Ragone on target and driven out. They will say out of bounds. No catch at the 40 for J.R. Russell.
I'll tell you, that was a heck of a throw, but it doesn't matter whether he was pushed or not. In the NFL, if you're carried out in the discretion of the official, they'll give you a completion. In college, your foot is either down in bounds or it is not. If it is not a completion.
Yeah, that was
very,
close.
Very good call.
In the NFL, this would have been a completion. The rest would have said he would have come down in bounds. He was pushed out. It would have been a completion.
I think the toe came down, but then he dropped the ball. And dropping the ball on the pitch, Henry Miller. It goes out of bounds. Luckily for Henry.
Yeah, there's that option. Love when a non-option team tries to run an option.
There's such a different motion in handling the football. The quarterback coming down the line of scrimmage, not accustomed to it, and the pitch relationship with the back is not perfect. And Ragone pitched the ball up in his face a little bit hard. It should be a gentle tumbling pitch. Actually, the pitch was okay. It was a little high. That should have been a catch. That's Henry Miller's fault. It was a nice pitch by Ragone. I thought he had thrown it too hard.
Bring up 3rd and 11. And incomplete. Broderick Clark turned after the ball was already past him. Cardinals are without Damian Dorsey, who was their leading receiver this year. 52 catches, 7 touchdowns. He would have missed the game anyway because of a shoulder injury, but he was kicked off the team for an incident following the Houston game. They are also, of course, without Ronnie Gent, the top pass-catching tight end in the country mid-season when he injured a knee and went down for the year. So Ragone without the same weapons that he began the season with.
Watch our rugby-style kicker with the punt release. Under 2 seconds.
Not much hang time, but he does know how to get the rolls. And this roll will end at the 37-yard line. All right, let's get out the grades from Mr. Leftwich.
Well, again, pro potential. This guy, quick delivery, runs a fantastic system, and I take and read defenses with the best of them.
Keeps coming back to Marriott, even though Marriott has the 3 drops.
His arm, what can you say? I mean, he can throw it long, he can throw it short. He's got a nice touch, he's got it all.
In the red zone, when they're in man coverage, forget it.
Legs, I tell you what, good enough to do damage if he runs, except he's got that bad shin, so he ain't running anywhere.
Got to protect him tonight.
Well, that limp is getting more pronounced every snap. Give this to Brandon Carey. And a good solid tackle by the free safety Anthony Floyd. 91 tackles from his spotted free safety.
All right, let's finish up the grading on Leftwich. Intangibles, again, I think he has all the tools: size, head, heart, legs. When the shin gets a little better to do a little bit of damage, he's going to make it big.
You saw him going off the field. Saw how his men responded to him, and those big guys want to help you off the field. That speaks volume.
That grade would be over 9 for both of us, Bill, if that shin was healthy and he could run a little more.
Might be over 10.
Is it the highest grade you'd give any senior quarterback this year?
Well, we'll get to that after this play.
All right. Over the middle, Marriott,
oh, boy.
And incomplete. Didn't have it long enough before he got wrapped up by Chad Lee, middle linebacker.
I tell you what, Carson Palmer, I think Carson Palmer from USC and Leftwich to me are neck and neck at this point. And I think this shin injury and the effect after this, certainly the NFL teams know about the injury, but they are going to be able to see it at the combine. They are going to be able to x-ray it, dissect it, and let me tell you, they are going to poke and prod that kid's leg more than has ever been poked and prodded in his life. And you wonder if that may be the difference depending on the lingering effects of that injury in the offseason.
Well, his problem at the moment, a 3rd and 9, and the play clock almost runs out on him again. Lets it go for Darius Watson. It's overthrown. Watts covered well that time by Chris Johnson, and Kerry Rhodes behind it. Well, you got Leftwich, you have Carson Palmer. Who else, if you were Mel Kiper Jr., would you include? Well, you have Ragone up there, Seneca Wallace, Cliff Kingsbury at Texas Tech.
And I tell you, all those guys, and we covered him. Seneca Wallace throws a beautiful ball, but he's, you know, undersized. You know, was a 5'11" or so, about a $190, 200 pounds, runs well, throws a nice ball. But size, certainly the pros aren't going to like.
No Brad Banks.
Yeah, that's surprising as well.
Curtis Head gets a nice bounce. And the roll will end at the 17. So from there, Ragone and the Cardinals first with a marker down.
You won't see Leftwich sit down much on the sidelines. We'll get some shots of him when Louisville has the ball. He stands out there. He'll have the headset on, or he'll just sit there and watch. He says he likes to get the feel of the game all the time. He likes to see where the momentum is. He always wants to be watching the action.
We had 2 fouls on the play, had offside on the defense, personal foul, face mask on the offense. Those penalties offset, we'll re-kick.
Now let's remind ourselves here that Louisville has blocked 9 punts this year, 12 kicks, including kicks from placement. And they're going to come after this punter. They know they're going to have to make big plays in the special teams area, and they have to hope that Leftwich continues to struggle with his accuracy out in the field. Now, when he got close to the goal line, Mike, he didn't have any trouble threading the needle, but he's had a little trouble throwing the ball with his normal accuracy out in the field.
Man to keep an eye on, Brandon Johnson, 97 for Louisville, has 3 of those punt blocks this year.
Head handling a little bit of a high snap, and by far his best kick. Headed for the coffin corner and nailed it at the 2. Can't do much better than that. Senior out of Shelbyville, Kentucky, has pinned the Cardinals way deep with a 55-yarder. Well, Byron Leftwich said that one of the things he would look forward to tonight was watching his opposite number, Ragone, go to work.
You know, I watch everybody, you know, not that it's Dave, but I watch everybody and try to pick up and see if I can pick up something to help my defense out. You know, that's just what I do. I like to watch. I'm never really one of those guys that sit on the side. You know, I like to watch what's going on so you can see how the game flowing and how, you know, are we getting the, momentum, or are they getting the momentum? So I like to sit there and watch the whole game.
Well, right now, Marshall's got the momentum. Lionel Gates maybe gets a yard out to the 4, hit by J.T. Rimber.
For the first time since the first game of the year, Dave Ragone has the privilege of his starting offensive line. They're all there. Travis Lafew has improved enormously, a redshirt freshman. Will Rabatine back at guard, at weak guard, first time in 6 weeks.
Again, Gates. Open field tackle, Yancey Satterwhite. And the Cardinals will have a third and about 5.
And when you saw those stats, it really looked like a huge advantage for Leftwich. But, Bill, you just mentioned the first time that he's had this O-line back together again. He's been sacked 43 times, and we know, Bill, when someone's sacked that many times, 3 or 4 times as much, they're hit. So probably another 200 times he's getting hit. So that certainly has affected those stats. Ragone is going to show the pro scouts a lot when he goes to the combines, when he has his individual workouts. He is a heck of a quarterback.
Tonight just 1 for 7, though, for 16 yards. And he needs 6. Deep out. Incomplete, intended for Russell, who was pretty much swallowed up by Satterwhite all the way up the sideline.
This is beautiful man coverage. Yancey Satterwhite, number 15. You get that receiver on your hip and you run, and you might slow down just a little because he's going to have to either run through you, which would be offensive interference, or run out of bounds. And as long as you don't stick that elbow out, you won't get called. That was beautiful man coverage by Yancey Satterwhite.
Here's where the short rugby style punting may hurt Louisville. Marshall should get some excellent field position, especially if he can catch it on a one-hopper.
Straight on this time for Smith. And again, very low trajectory, and then the hop and the return by Davis with a marker down to the 45. Well, Friday, 6:30 Eastern, number 5, Western Kentucky, number 1, McNeese State in the 2002 NCAA Division I 2A football championship here on ESPN2. These are rankings, not seeds. McNeese State is the number 1 seed. They met earlier this year. McNeese State handed Western Kentucky their 3rd and final loss, 38-13, but that was back on September 28th. So they meet for the national championship of 1AA Friday night. Tom Ritter and our SEC crew.
During the return, a clipping on the receiving team, 15 yards from the spot of the foul, first down.
Well, that'll hurt your field position.
You start on the opponent's side of the 50-yard line, you've got a 70% chance of putting points on the board, at least a field goal. And it's amazing how the odds drop when you commit a penalty like that and you start back on your own 40. Not nearly as good.
Leftwich 5 of 12, 77 yards. And a 9-yard touchdown to Marriott. 21 total yards for the Louisville offense. That is it. And Dave Ragone 1 for 8, 16 yards. That's it for him.
They're coming with 5 again.
Leftwich a little tall that time for Marriott, who has been his target about 85% of the time so far in the first quarter. He has caught 3 and he's dropped 3.
This is Louisville's plan. Every now and then they're going to come with 5 and play man coverage with a free safety and run all kind of stunts. They didn't get to Leftwich, but he is still struggling with his accuracy.
Get it out into the hands of Demetrius Doss, looking for a screen. Not what they expected out of that. They might get 6 yards and bring up 3rd and 4. Curry Burns making the tackle.
It was amazing. He completed the ball, kind of through a maze there.
Well, that's a throw. The one throw that he does not normally make well is the slip screen or the quick screen. He's thrown those beautifully tonight, but his downfield throws to the outside have been erratic. He's hit some beautifully, and then he's been off on some.
Marriott tonight came in needing 144 yards for 1,000. Watts needed 2 yards. They would have 3,000-yard receivers. And Marriott well on his way. First down to the 36 of the Cardinals.
They just find the hole, run that zone. They just find the hole. That time, Brandon Johnson, the linebacker, slipped and fell. So Marriott wide open. Easy throw, easy first down. Well, I shouldn't say easy throw. He had a couple drops tonight.
Yeah, well, he's had 4 drops.
Yeah.
Marriott's dropped the ball 4 times, but he also has a touchdown, and he has a bunch of catches.
What's it been, about 2 hours we've been in this game? The first quarter just ended.
But Marshall, perfect so far, leading after 1, and they lead after 1 tonight in the GMAC Bowl in Mobile. Byron Leftwich limping his way to a 7-0 Thundering Herd advantage. You know, they really do dress like that down here. It's a GMAC Bowl.
Yes, they do. My wife Carolyn wore a couple of those in days of yore, back when we were in high school in College Park, Georgia.
I wore one once. Oh, did I say that out loud?
Any pictures?
I'm sorry. I didn't really mean to.
Use the imagination.
It was made at the South Bend Tinton Awning Company.
So we begin the second quarter, 7-0 Marshall. And Wallace inside the 30-yard line. Our ESPN2 game track through the first 15 minutes. They have hit Leftwich a couple of times, and that one was late by Scott Lopez. But he came back and went to his favorite target, Denero Marriott, for the only touchdown of the game so far, limping all the way. He has thrown 10 passes to Marriott. 4 catches, 70 yards, and the score. Wallace again, and some nice blocking. And Hawk Pollard at the 20 with another first down.
And a flag. That's going to be a late hit out of bounds. I tell you what, Louisville living up to the rep of having the most yards against them. What was it, third most, I believe, penalty yards, or
right
over 90 yards, 92 yards a game, and they're going to get some more tacked on right here.
Robert McCune, a sophomore in his second career start tonight, middle linebacker. Spent 3 years with the National Guard. 6 months in Kuwait, a year in Korea.
Personal foul on the defense, half the distance to the goal, first down.
And he had 18 tackles against Houston, the most by any Cardinal defender all year. But here, well, about 5 yards out of bounds.
Yeah, but I'll tell you, he hit him about where he was going out. That was close. That was not flagrant. But here's Marshall messing around, not playing particularly well on offense. They've got a touchdown, and they're down on your 10-yard line again.
Not quite first and goal. Wallace driven out at the 7. And a nice open field move first to get away from Chad Lee, finally driven out by Floyd.
Yeah, Marshall scored 50 times out of 60 times in the red zone this year. That's around 84%. Wallace running the ball well, and you don't think of Marshall as a running team, but they obviously came into this game tonight with the intent of beefing up the run to help out Leftwich and to keep the rush off of it.
Third in the country in passing, 81st in rushing, but they run it again. Same play, Wallace, and this time for nothing. And down again to Dr. Jerry Punch. Any more news on the John L. Smith to Michigan State story?
No, apparently not, Dave. It is swirling, though. It has been swirling for the last hour and a half to 2 hours on local radio in the Louisville area, as well as up in East Lansing, Michigan, and around Detroit. It hit middle of the afternoon that apparently John L., if you just joined our coverage, John L. Smith, that man right there, the 5-year head coach at the University of Louisville, the word is that tomorrow morning he will be asked to accept or decline the head coaching job at Michigan State University. And apparently the word from this sideline, I'm on the Louisville sideline, is that they think he will accept that job tomorrow morning and probably speak to his team tonight after what he hopes will be a win here in this bowl game.
Leftwich to the back of the end zone for Darius Watts, and too tall, incomplete. Covered by Chris Johnson, and the field goal unit will come on. John L. Smith completing his 5th year, turning around a team that was a 1-win program. He got there, and they are 40-20, and he has them in their 5th consecutive bowl.
Well, he's played in a tough conference. The Conference USA has gotten better and better, and they've won the thing the last couple of years and could have tied for the title this year.
24-yard try here. Curtis Head is good. Very accurate kicker, senior. 16 for 21 now for the year. And he is up the lead for the Thundering Herd to 10-0 early in the second quarter in the GMAC Bowl in Mobile. What are we down to? 6 shopping days? It's a week from today.
Oh boy.
And the Golick household will be well served again.
The big present right there. You think maybe that's Byron Leftwich, and he's under the Cincinnati Bengal tree?
They would sure love to see him there, I'll guarantee you.
That's certainly the word, Leftwich or Carson Palmer being that top pick of the Cincinnati Bengals, who certainly needs some stability at the quarterback position. That is cute right there.
Ladd People Stadium sold out.
Some mama didn't think so. She had that Marshall cheerleading uniform on, though, didn't she?
Leftwich
Adorable.
only 7 of 17. Buddy has put 10 points on the board. And meanwhile, Dave Ragone 1 of 8, 16 yards, 21 total yards for the Cardinal offense.
That's what we get for building it up, huh?
I still have faith they're going to show up. Roderick Clark brings that one out and slides to a halt of the 16.
That part of the field is really slick. When we walked down there before the game, Mike, I noticed there was sort of a, I don't know, almost like a dewy feeling about that grass, and that grass is a little thicker than the grass between the hashes. That's a slippery area.
Let's go back to John L. Smith, coach, and players certainly have heard this. There's no doubt they've heard this rumor. I mean, so you wonder, how does it affect players? You know, seniors, I don't think it affects much. It's their last game anyway, but underclassmen, you have to believe there's going to be some effect there.
Let's let this play run.
Victor Glenn in motion, give to Lionel Gates. One of the best gains of the night for the Cardinals. However, a marker back at the line of scrimmage. 9-yard gain if it stands.
The young players are going to be worried about who's going to be our coach, and they'll be on the sideline talking about it. Got movement on the offense, so that'll set them back 5 yards. And somebody, you never know. The way kids are today, they may walk up and ask John L. during the game, hey, coach, is this true what we heard? And it could be an awkward thing. At the half, it could come up.
Again, the seniors, they're out anyway, so I don't think it'll have as much effect. But I agree with the juniors, sophomores, freshmen. Who are you playing for? Now you have to impress the next coach that's going to come in and watch you on film. If it's not one of the coordinators elevated to job, if it's somebody new, has to go through your mind. No doubt about it.
Play fake and Ragone rolling. On target. And down to the 23-yard line. After the catch. Let's send it down to Dr. Jerry Punch.
Thanks, guys. It's my pleasure to visit with Carol Knorr, who's the Vice President of Marketing and Development for GMAC. And Carol, I've got to ask you, what is your involvement with GMAC with this bowl done for your company?
Oh, it's allowed us to give a lot back to the community through the camp focus activities, the scholarship awards that are given in conjunction with the bowl, and a lot of the other just events that go on throughout the year. It's more than just a football game.
As we watch the run for a yard or two, we'll ask you, Carol, so many things you guys do. At the luncheon the other day, we saw scholarship for young people, and we understand your involvement is expanding in the next few years.
Yes, we look forward. We've signed on through 2005, and so we look forward to adding to the camp-focused cities around the country. We currently conduct that camp for homeless boys in 2 cities. We expect to expand that more next year, leveraging our General Motors dealer network.
Carol, thanks so much for what you and GMAC have been doing to help college football.
Thank you and the City of Mobile for your hospitality.
Guys.
Lionel Gates fumbles, recovered by Marshall at the 24-yard line.
And had he not fumbled, he was run down by Terrence Tarpley for a loss on 3rd and short. The first 3rd and short situation we've had. There comes Tarpley off the backside. He actually causes the fumble.
Satterwhite gets it. Good job of hustling after the ball's on the ground.
Oh, yeah. Great job coming off the backside down the line of scrimmage. Good angle of pursuit by Tarpley, who moved from corner. So a guy with corner-type speed is a real threat up there where all the noise happens. And here's Marshall right back into scoring territory.
Already up 10-0. First turnover of the game, and it happens on the 24-yard line of the Cardinals. So Leftwich, well protected. Didn't want to have to do this, and that is a painful sight. He hops forward for a couple of yards.
Well, he can't. You know what? Just go down. I mean, you're going to hop on one leg and go down.
You know what he's doing? He's laughing.
Yeah.
He's thinking because he could have run this thing in the end zone. There is no one. It's man coverage, so nobody's looking at him. He could have outrun Lopez, who was coming off the block after trying to rush him. Could have hopped 4 or 5 yards. Come on, Byron, get tougher. Hop on down there and make a first down, son.
Well, you know there is no way he would allow himself not to play in this game if it's at all up to him. And looking to the end zone, flag down, Marriott down, with Chris Johnson applying the forearm. But when you watch him hop around like that, I mean, how close are they to the point where it's dangerous for him? He can't protect himself.
Well, here's the thought, guys, and I've got to bring it up. See another penalty against Louisville. At what price? This guy is not going to pull himself out of the game. He is going to play every single play. When does Bob Pruitt say enough is enough? You got us to the you got us to this bowl. You got us to the conference title. We're here. There's no national championship on the line. At what point do you say enough is enough? This guy can go on to a fantastic career in the NFL. At what point? Because he is not going to do it. He won't do it. The coach is going to have to at some point make the decision to say, Byron, enough is enough. You've been fantastic. Time to sit down.
He's defenseless.
He is. Really. He really is.
It is also, as you said, it's up to him, going to be out there for every last snap. Last game in the green and white. And after the defensive holding penalties, first down at the 12 of Louisville. 1.5 minutes, second quarter. Hit as he fires this one to the corner of the end zone. Incomplete for Darius Watts. Michael Brown blitzing from the bandit spot. And Bob Pruitt says, when people have blitzed us this year, somebody's band usually plays, usually ours. Not in this case.
They've usually done a great job of picking up the blitz. Not there. Taking a shot. Certainly can't afford too much of that.
Now, Brendan Carey, number 8, is the blocking back there, and he just got run over by Brown, and Brown did a nice job, and it was not a late hit. It was a good, clean play.
Leftwich back for more. Swing past Marriott. Quickly turns it upfield and then hit at the 8. Down again to Jerry Punch.
Guys, 2 years ago in 2000, after the Michigan State game, Byron Leftwich was diagnosed with a stress fracture of his left tibia. Now, he suffered through and endured that pain through all of 2000, 2001. And then this past summer, they used bone stimulators and a lot of different rehab for that to heal. And I was told the first couple of games this year are the first time in 2 years he had played with no pain in the left leg. When asking the trainers and doctors, is this a recurrence of that same, they say, no, this is below that. This is a very, very deep bone bruise just above the ankle, and also a shearing or tearing of the ligaments between the tibia and fibula that produce bleeding and a lot of pain. That's what they have told me is there. When you see this young man, it looks like it's got to be more than that. Cardinal timeout.
That's the backup, Stan Hill, sophomore from Tupelo, Mississippi. Will we see him at some point tonight? Maybe. 10-0. Byron Leftwich had a Heisman caliber year, but right now limping his way through the first quarter and change, leading 10-0. And Jerry, I know they're calling it a bruise. The way he's acting, though, the way he is obviously wincing every time he puts any pressure on it, are you suspecting it might be something worse?
You know, I'm standing down here, and there's a couple of orthopedic surgeons that are on the sidelines on the opposite side from where Marshall's team is, and they say it looks to them like a Sam Bowie, that maybe he's got a stress fracture that needs to be fixed, and they're concerned about him playing on it.
Well, another touchdown strike. Whatever the injury is, it has not kept him from hitting Demetrius Doss in the corner of the end zone to get the Marshall lead up to 16-0.
If I were a Louisville doctor, I'd try to get that guy out of there too. Don't let him play anymore. What do you think the Louisville doctor is going to say?
Well, I tell you what, he throws an outside route as good as I've seen in a long time. We saw the deep one earlier to Marriott here. Just a beautiful shot over the outside shoulder. Either his receiver is catching it or nobody is.
Head for the extra point. So now 17-0. We learned last year there is no such thing as a safe lead in the GMAC Bowl. Marshall came from 30 back to win. But with the health issue of Byron Leftwich, you wonder at what point they decide to let him at least rest a little bit. He's built a 17-0 lead. Back to Reese Davis.
All right, Dave.
17-0 Marshall. Again, not to drive this too far into the ground, but Bill, as a head coach, when you see a player in the pain that Leftwich is in, as effective as he is that no longer the issue at this point? Is his future the only issue?
His future is the only issue that really matters, but there's a team doctor there and there's an orthopedist that has had the opportunity to x-ray this, and you rely on your medical people to tell you whether or not the guy can play. If it's just obvious that he's in such severe pain, then you have to get him out regardless of the doctors. But if those doctors didn't believe it were okay, they would not be letting him play.
9 out of 20, 114 yards, and now 2 touchdowns. Near disaster on the return. Broderick Clark will turn it into a return to the 22, and then a late flag over there.
Just tack on 15 to it. Late hit out of bounds.
What a dangerous spot for a gentleman in a wheelchair over there, too. Let's send it back to Reese Davis.
Dave, some more coaching news breaking. Carl Durrell, the wide receivers coach for the Broncos, former offensive coordinator for Rick Neuheisel at Washington, is the new head coach at UCLA. Today's his 39th birthday, and he is the 4th African-American to be a Division I head coach, Mark.
Well, obviously, it's a fabulous opportunity for Carl Durrell to get this opportunity to coach at UCLA. He's inheriting a program that the cupboard is not empty. They've got a lot of great talent there, but I think Tyrone Willingham's success at Notre Dame had a lot to do with this hire.
What's old Mike Riley thinking right now?
He might be thinking, I've messed up. Mike Riley left out of UCLA and Alabama. We'll talk more at halftime, guys.
All right, late hit penalty, Chris Royal. And move it up to the 37. Ragone incomplete. 2 for 10 now. That one intended for Antoine Harris.
Well, again, you're looking for your receivers to help you out. Harris drops that one. Ragone had to put it in there low because of the coverage.
Just an observation from watching Ragone tonight. Maybe because he's had to move so much this year, he seems to throw more accurately when he's on the move.
29 yards through the air. 34 total yards for the Cardinals. Very short gain for Richard Owens, the tight end, to replace Ronnie Gent midseason after his knee injury, and another marker down.
Well, while they're deciding what this flag is, I'm going to go back down to Dr. Jerry Punch. And Doc, I talked about what's going to go on in the offseason with Byron Leftwich. He's going to be poked and prodded by all the NFL doctors, and more film will be taken. What is the odds or the possibility that he may need off-season surgery, which would really put a damper on that career?
Well, you know, Mike, I think it's very important. We tell people that the Marshall doctors and trainers firmly believe that there is no fracture, that they said the x-rays and the MRIs are negative. I have no reason not to believe Mitch Bellamy and Jose Ricard, the doctor and trainer at Marshall. And they believe they were not jeopardizing this young man. What they had told me earlier today was that after the year is over, they give him 2 or 3 weeks to completely get off that leg, do some rehab, some electrical stimulation, and it should heal just fine, and he should be okay. I asked them specifically about surgery. They said no. 3 weeks of nothing, not having to run or practice on that leg, he should be fine. They're adamant there is no fracture, and the MRIs and x-rays are negative.
Ragone on the roll and then throwing incomplete, out of bounds, intended for Victor Glenn. And the Cardinal offense continues to sputter its way to fits and starts. Really, the best gains they've had have been on penalties.
Marshall is really trying to help them on this drive. 30 yards, 2 penalties, totally unnecessary, just dumb personal fouls, one laid out of bounds and another one a little fisticuffs down here on the side. Jonathan Goddard was the guy that got the attention of Bob Pruitt, so he must have been guilty in one of them. And here they are at the 45-yard line with a golden opportunity.
Well, as good a penetration as they've had so far. Owens, the tight end, breaking tackle, slamming his way to a first down at the 34.
That's a 282-pounder running a crossing route. I think that is an excellent call. Ragone has been trying to go downfield. It has not been working. So you send some receivers deep, you drag your tight end across the middle at 282 pounds, and you say, go ahead and get me some yards, son. And that's exactly what he does.
Nice touch, just feathered it in there, and with a tight end, you don't lead him. You hit him right between the 8 and the 9, and Big Richard took it real seriously from there. Nice job, Richard. Nice throw by Ragone.
13 yards and the first down.
Got a discussion with the referee and Ragone and Orlando Washington.
That's Richard Owens' 16th catch of the year, and I think I'd get it in the big guy's hands some more because he's tough to bring down.
Hopefully we got the two captains together for a word. On a reverse, Robert Haskins. And beautifully run down by Jameis Martin, defensive end, with yet another flag down.
Yeah, it's going to be holding against Louisville.
We're 2 steps forward, 1 step back all night so far for the Cardinals. Helped on this drive by the penalty, and now they'll back up.
Holding on the offense, 10-yard penalty from the screen spot. We play first half.
This team was really down after losing at a Houston team that had already fired its coach, Dana Dimmel. But he said last week the fire is back. In practice, fights are breaking out again, and that's always a good sign. When they're hitting each other, getting fired up, getting in fights, that means we're ready.
Now that's your 255-pound quarterback saying that. He was probably right in the middle of some of them. Tough kid.
Half-step drop, drops it over the middle again. Nice yardage. J.R. Russell right about to the original line of scrimmage.
So, Bill, I'll ask you, does that, and I certainly don't mind that in practice either, scrapping it around a bit, but does that lead to some of the penalties we see going on of the most third most penalized team in the land?
A mature football team knows that when you practice hard, you're going to get pumped up, you're going to punch each other a little bit. You also know when you cross that white line, you never give them a dumb penalty of 15-yarder. Totally unnecessary.
Ragone out of the gun. Scrambling away. And close to the first down, maybe a couple of feet shy. Roberto Terrell finally drags him down there.
Hey, run him over, Dave.
Yeah.
Look at that. You talked about this earlier. We talked about his legs and running, and I said he could do a good job getting the first down. This is where you want him to put his head down, run him over. He tries to move. He's not going to dance around anybody.
Yeah, and if he would have just lowered his shoulder, he'd have had that first down.
Yep, he would have.
Another 3rd and short.
Haven't gotten a 3rd down yet. They only need a yard. And another flag down as T.J. Patterson carries for what would be plenty if it's against Marshall.
Penalties are an epidemic tonight.
6 for 55 yards Louisville, 5 for 60 yards against Marshall.
Now, did Marshall, and oh yeah, they lining up off sides on that 3rd and short. You'll see that a number of times on defense. You're trying to get all the ball, line up as close to the ball as you can, and a lot of times your head will lean over into the neutral zone.
Now that's 35 yards on this drive alone that Marshall has given Louisville. The one way you can get Louisville back in this game in a hurry is to give them a drive down the field, and that's essentially what Marshall's doing. Some nice throws by Ragone, one semi-nice run. He's tougher than that usually.
Yes, he is. I agree with you.
Third penalty, 35 yards on this possession against Marshall. Double reverse as the backup quarterback, Stephon LaFour's incomplete. He tried to hit Ragone. They had both quarterbacks in. LaFour's, sophomore from Baton Rouge, who had thrown only 5 passes all year, thought he had 6 for Ragone.
No, he didn't. Charles Tynes was there, number 45 for Marshall. The play took a little while to develop, and Tynes had some time to get back. It actually should have been an interception.
Nice job by Tynes, but it shows you why he's a linebacker. He didn't even touch the ball. It went between those two hands. Charles, those hands are going to clock.
Look at this formation.
Triple stack on the right side. And Ragone firing complete. First catch, Joshua Tinch, the leading active receiver on the team, and he has 1st and goal at the 4. There's another development, we understand. Dr. Jerry Punch on the John L. Smith, Michigan State story.
And guys, the news is now really swirling in the stadium, and I've been told a moment ago that at halftime, Louisville Athletic Director Tom Jurich will hold a press conference in the lobby up in the press room with the media to state that they have been contacted by Michigan State, and he will address questions. That's at halftime in less than 6 minutes.
First down toss, Patterson. TJ down to the 2. I don't know if I can recall a halftime press conference
well, I'll tell you what,
to address a coaching change.
It's up here in the press box, so if it's anywhere near the food line, I'll go cover it.
You'll be in the neighborhood anyway.
I'll be right around there.
Meanwhile, Dave Ragone is conducting a very nice drive. They're down inside the 5-yard line. Their red zone offensive record this year is good, not great, but good. 56% of the time they score touchdowns when they're down here.
Another give to T.J. Patterson, who goes in standing up, and the Cardinals are on the board.
You know, as you said, Bill, and correctly so, a drive aided by some Marshall penalties, but still a nice drive, mix of run and pass by Louisville. Nice drive to get back in this game.
What's happening is that the O-line is getting more and more confident. Look at that surge. Nice job. All those white shirts. Big old rear ends moving. Feet churning. John L. loves it. He's not coaching any green shirts yet.
T.J. Patterson from Alabama. Junior from Florence gets his 3rd touchdown of the year. Nate Smith, 40 for 41 for the year, and it's 17-7. Ragone finally gets a rhythm. 4 out of 6 on the drive for 49 yards, 63 yards, 10 plays. Patterson gets Louisville on the board and back in the game.
ESPN2's exclusive presentation of the 2002 GMAC Bowl. Brought to you by Hitman 2. Always business, never personal. Hitman 2 in stores now.
You can find your seafood fresh from the Gulf here in Mobile. 17-7 Marshall now. 5:15 to go, second quarter. Quite an eventful drive. Louisville gets on the board. We break news of a halftime press conference addressing the job status of John L. Smith, the Cardinal head coach.
That is amazing. I've never heard of a press conference at halftime.
Dr. Jerry Punch breaking scoop after scoop down there. Roberto Terrell from the 5. Here's the good Cardinal coverage again. And they've got him at the 20. NFL doubleheader action coming this weekend on ESPN. Saturday, prime time doubleheader begins with the Eagles and the Cowboys. 8:30 following NFL prime time at 8. Eagles fighting for home field advantage in the playoffs. And then Sunday, don't forget the Super Bowl champions up against the wall. It'll be the Patriots against the New York Jets. 8:30 Sunday. Also available on ESPN Deportes. NFL primetime starts us all off at 7:30, presented by Miller Lite. Saturday night and Sunday night primetime football on ESPN. Maybe Emmitt Smith's final game at Texas Stadium. Maybe Dave Campos. Leftwich throwing for the first time to his tight end Jason Rader. Good target. 6'4", 260, and his 29th catch of the year. Under 5 minutes to go in the first half. Led People Stadium sold out, 40,000 plus for the 4th GMAC Bowl. Marshall against Louisville. It's been Marshall all the way by as many as 17-0. Cardinals just finally extended a drive long enough to get a touchdown run by T.J. Patterson. Dave Barnett with Bill Curry, Mike Golick, and Dr. Jerry Punch on the sideline. Franklin Butchie Wallace, junior from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, on the carry, and Chad Lee, middle linebacker, on the stop. Well, the athletic director for Louisville, Tom Jurich, again has decided to hold what he'll call an impromptu news conference at halftime to answer the many media questions surrounding, as Marriott is run down on the 27, surrounding the Michigan State story, their discussions with John L. Smith. Jurich says he has been swamped during this first half, and he just wants to take halftime to give everybody an opportunity to get their questions in, and for him to make whatever statement he is prepared to make at the moment.
That gives you another great reason to stick around, huh?
Yes, it does.
Meanwhile, back on the field,
how about it?
The Louisville defense has renewed vigor after that touchdown. You always want to watch your defense to see if they can respond after you score to get yourself back in the game. Big 3rd and 12 here.
Here's that zone defense again to look for holes.
Leftwich to no one. Nearest man wasn't that close. Josh Davis.
That was a big series for Louisville. The Louisville bench energized, the defense playing well.
Guys, I'm telling you, every step he takes, he looks worse. Byron Leftwich.
And the momentum has shifted, as you said, Coach, to Louisville now. Nice stop there. You have the Marshall quarterback limping off the field.
He's still not off the field. They can't snap it until he finally, the instant he makes it to the bench, they get the snap. And a marker down, a big Marshall bounce. And no return at all. Down at the 8-yard line is Haskins, a 55-yard punt as we wait for the marker.
I believe it's going to be offsides against Louisville, so Marshall would decline it. At least I would imagine they would.
Now, after a gift drive with some nice execution by Louisville, looking at the grand scheme, trying to keep our mind on this football game every now and then, let's see if Louisville's offense can mount a long drive down the field, eat up these 3 minutes, and get some more points on the board. That's what they need to do.
Offside on the defense. That penalty is declined. First down.
A beautiful field position changing punt that time by Curtis Head, who has done a great job for him punting and kicking this year.
Well, you would think Leftwich would try and keep that leg as warm as possible. And he'll stroll up and down as Patterson's met at the line of scrimmage, falls forward into the arms of Goddard. In fact, Leftwich may stroll right onto the locker room. Even if Marshall gets the ball back, evidently it won't include him at quarterback the rest of this half.
Now Stan Hill, his backup, played a wonderful game against Miami of Ohio. The game became infamous because of some after the game frolicking on the field, but he's a good backup.
Ragone, 2nd and 9. Batted into the air and incomplete by Chris Crocker.
When we talk about decisions by Ragone that are mystifying, why does he throw that ball in there? That thing could be picked and go right in the end zone. That is the kind of thing that really hurts you when the scouts study you.
And we talked about in our grading scheme, one of them was decision making as we see Leftwich going off the field. You're right, he should either thrown that one sooner or even later after he cleared the linebackers, but bad timing on the throw.
Byron's going to stick around and watch the 3rd and 9. Blitz picked up. Ragone's arm may have been hit as he let that one go incomplete.
It was hit, and that's how quarterbacks get hurt the most often. When the quarterback is coming through and somebody grabs their arm, they really can hurt their elbow or their shoulder. Looks like Ragone's okay.
Here we go, 2:24 left. Marshall looking to get some fantastic field position.
Well, Ragone has had some low lows. 14 of 39 against Kentucky, 11 of 31, only 91 yards against Cincinnati. This first half is in that category. 6 of 15, 68 yards. Flag down. Nate Smith. And at midfield, the return by Josh Davis goes backwards.
Now this is going to be offsides on Marshall. They send the personal protector in motion when the punter is going to roll to his right. And when he went in motion, the Marshall on the punt return team jumped offside. A lot of flags this half.
I'm telling you, there have been 12 accepted penalties, 6 apiece.
Offside on the receiving team. That penalty is declined. First down.
They'll take it right where they are, the 47-yard line. 2:13 before the half. Reese Davis, what do you have for us at halftime?
Well, that coaching carousel continues to spin, Dave, and we will talk about the newest Bruin, Carl Durrell, named as head coach at UCLA. We'll talk about that fallout. And the price is right, so come on down to Tuscaloosa. Mike Price now leading the Tide. And who's going to make the better pro between the two quarterbacks we're watching tonight, Byron Leftwich or Dave Ragone? Mark and Trev will weigh in.
At the moment, Stan Hill gets his first series. We expect to see him at some point, and his first play is a nice pickup of about 9 yards for Brandon Carey. Stan Hill, sophomore from Tupelo, Mississippi, while Leftwich was nursing the injured shin, he started against Miami of Ohio, was 25 of 39, 292 yards, 4 touchdowns, very Leftwich-like numbers in posting that win. Played 7 games during the year, 63% passer, 5 touchdowns, threw 5 interceptions. And they say a Favre-like arm. Think of what that means coming from Tupelo, Mississippi. Carey, nice job of dancing, and on 2nd down and 2, he'll have the first down with 1:26.
Yeah, that sounds like walking in awful high cotton there talking about Favre, but his coach, Mark McHale, coached Brett Favre at Southern Mississippi, so he's qualified to make that comparison.
Well, I tell you what, if he continues to improve, how about the string of quarterbacks at Marshall from Chad Pennington to Byron Leftwich to Hill?
And how about this spot? That is a very unfavorable spot for Marshall. Looked like he had the first down by a yard. They back him up and say he was
they blew the
a couple
spot.
of feet shy, and they still need that on 3rd down. And I don't think they get it. No. Very close for Carey.
He got it the previous play, but he didn't get it on that one. These SEC officials don't miss many, but they missed that spot.
Tyrone Satterfield the stop on Carey, and so it will be 4th down, and the clock continues down to 35 seconds.
Well, they're certainly playing here to not make a mistake instead of going to put some points on the board.
Well, you got a new quarterback out there. It's kind of chilly. It's a little slick in some places on the field. What you don't want to do is to make a mistake and go in 17-14.
Well, this is a little mystifying here. You're that close, 43 yards. You can take at least one shot at the end zone.
Yeah, that's what I thought as well. Or if you want to get a safe pass, get a first down, stop the clock, kill it, and then maybe try for a field goal.
Well, I had a very fine offensive coordinator named Dwayne Painter at Georgia Tech with us, and we had an argument every time we got in this situation. I said, go a big bend, throw it up there, do a Hail Mary. He'd say, no, if they intercept it, they'll run it back. So we'd have, Dwayne and I would have that big argument, but we always put it up.
I was going to say, you're the head coach, so I'd imagine it went up in the air.
It went up.
Yeah. I agree with you, Dave. I would have, this whole series, I think I've done a little more. I mean, you don't have to have Stan Hill throw high percentage, or you have him throw high percentage passes. Try and get into some field goal range.
Let's see that Favre arm. Lay it out there for us.
If he plays in the second half, you'll see it then.
But not here.
Curtis had it. Yeah, that's it.
All right, well, they decided to do nothing with the field position. And Stan Hill will follow Byron Leftwich to the locker room. Bob Pruitt with a 17-7 halftime lead in the GMAC Bowl. Let's go down to Jerry Punch.
And I'm walking along beside John L. And John L., a frustrating first half where you hope to be able to run the football.
Well, we hope to, and we haven't done a very good job of that. And then we turn the ball over, you know, so we're end up being down. We've got to do a better job of doing, controlling the football offensively. And then defensively, we've been out there all day. We just got to make sure we don't turn it over. We got to come out and be smart with the ball.
Coach, the focus on this game is here, but nationally there's rumors swirling about you making a decision tomorrow. Any comment?
No.
I guess that sums it up.
Wow, yep, guess so.
That was really good acceleration, wasn't it?
You cannot get into the locker room fast enough. 17-7 Marshall at the half. Back to the studio and Reese Davis.
I had a feeling that John L. knew that one was coming, but certainly didn't. You know, you speak of halftime adjustments a lot. Tom Jurich may be making one. The Louisville athletic director, Dr. Jerry Punch, told us, holding a press conference at halftime in just a few minutes to address John L. Smith's situation and the potential that he might be moving on to Michigan State. You can't go without mentioning what John L. Smith has done at Louisville. He inherited a program that was 1-10. They've had 5 straight winning seasons. They've gone to bowl games, a couple of conference titles. But as far as Michigan State, Mark, what about this hire if it indeed happens?
Well, it's a solid hire, but it's not the hot name. It's not a sexy name. It's not like Steve Mariucci coming from the 49ers going to Michigan State. It's not one of those things that you turn and say, wow, that's a great hire. But it's a solid hire. I think it's a good move up for John L. Smith.
Well, yeah, obviously. I mean, I think it's a good hire. I mean, he's a good coach. But, I mean, if you're Ron Mason, the athletic director at Michigan State, they fire Bobby Williams November 4th. And it's like, I'm saying to myself,
Well, you
Where
asked
was
him
the
what he was doing
direction?
for a while.
Well, I don't know. I mean, he could have called John L. Smith today, talked to nobody else. He could have had John L. Smith any time of the day.
And it's not like he's going to sell a lot of tickets being John L. Smith as a head coach there.
In Michigan State's defense, their target seemed to be
all year.
That's true, but they seemed to be
game.
after Marvin Lewis from the Redskins, and he couldn't make the long-term commitment, and therefore they had to go to Plan B.
Whatever.
A lot of that's been going around. Alabama had to go to Plan B, and apparently they found out that the price was right. I promise to never use that again. That's the last time. He's a new coach at Alabama. He will continue as coach at Washington State for a while. We'll talk about that.
Byron Leftwich very slowly walked out of the locker room, but then once he finally made his way onto the field, he took a few warm-up tosses. Stan Hill had been out for several minutes before that warming up. Stan Hill ended the first half. There were questions in both locker rooms during that rather extraordinary halftime. Bill, the question in the Louisville locker room is our coach still our coach?
Coach Smith, are you the guy, or are we going to have somebody else? I'm sure somebody put that to him. So I'm, you know, and then the quarterback question in the other locker room.
And Mike, we've talked about it the entire first half. Watching Byron Leftwich defenseless, unable to move at all. How smart is it to continue to risk his future health out?
Stan Hill should be in the game right now, no doubt about it. If I'm Byron Leftwich, I want to play too. You have to drag me off the field, but that's exactly what Bob Pruitt should do. Get him off the field.
Well, we'll find out. Louisville is going to receive the opening kickoff here in the second half, and Stan Hill ended the first half. John L. Smith beat a hasty retreat into the locker room, and then his athletic director Tom Jurich addressed the stories coming out of East Lansing, Michigan. We'll summarize those for you. Broderick Clark returning, and a marker down. The nation's leading kick returner has been bottled up pretty well, only out to the 22 here. And another special team stop by Chris Royal, who has been in on, it seems, just about every special teams tackle.
It's a shocker of flags down.
13 penalties all told in the first half.
This one warrants a 4-5 referee discussion.
They're getting a little help too from a couple of green jerseys.
Marshall's got the lead right now, 7 for 70 yards. Louisville 6 for 55, and it cost Marshall a touchdown because they eased Louisville down the field.
There were 2 fouls on the play.
Yeah.
During the return, an illegal block in the back on the receiving team. After the play was over, personal foul on the receiving team. Both penalties will be enforced. It'll be 1st and 10.
The daily double. Let's go down to Jerry Punch.
Guys, in the last minutes of the first half, Bobby Pruitt made the call and basically took Byron Leftwich out of the football game because they wanted to take him in and get an x-ray. They were going to x-ray him at halftime, but because of the late licks and the pain he was in, both he and the orthopedic Kyle Hegg decided, let's go ahead and get the film taken. The x-ray was in the locker room at halftime. There was no change on that left leg of Byron Leftwich, and we are told he will play in the second half. And the words, and I quote the words from Bob Pruitt to the offense in the locker room, guys, protect the big guy. You've got to keep them off of him.
Oh, boy.
I don't know.
You know, I don't know either. Listen, Bob Pruitt's been coaching a long time. I certainly respect what he's doing out there. I do not believe he would ever put a player in danger. I honestly believe that. No doubt, so he doesn't think there is a danger, and I guarantee you Leftwich is egging him every which way he can to stay in the game.
Ragone from the end zone.
Oh, what a great throw.
Great throw, great call. Oh, nice job by Ragone to put the ball on the money, and his man can't come down with it.
Tiger Jones from here in Mobile off his hands. ESPN2 game track through the first half. Well, John L. Smith, rumors swirling. Is he headed to Michigan State? Right now, we know he will coach the second half at least, and apparently Byron Leftwich will continue in the second half at quarterback.
And John L. will meet Joe Paterno in a 100-yard race on Monday.
I'll call that pick'em. Ragone again out of the end zone, and a poor pass this time, thrown way behind Broderick Clark. Well, and Ragone may be shaken up, comes up holding his left hand.
Well, we talked about the stats when we compared the two, Leftwich and Ragone. Ragone's weren't as good, and watch, there's a reason. this isn't the greatest throw in the world. Terrence Tarpley right in his face. He can't follow through on the ball. His arm ends up hitting Tarpley before he can follow through. He has to short arm it.
Yeah, Tarpley hit his elbow, and it's that one of those funny bone things, and your hand goes in.
Smith from as far back as he could get in his own end zone, and he's got that knack of getting the roll. He gets about 15 yards worth of roll on this one. And from his own 4 to the 46-yard line, 53 yards. That equals his best of the year. Byron Leftwich, at times you thought surely this is the last snap he's going to take tonight, but evidently not. Completely unable to scramble, and yet he got 2 touchdown passes, one to Marriott, one to Demetrius Doss, and back out there with a 17-7 lead to begin the third quarter. Wallace on the carry and a gain of a couple.
Let me respond to the things that both of you are saying. You got to understand the mechanics of an athletic program. There are team physicians, expert orthopedists, who put their reputations on the line when they allow somebody to go on that field. They would not let Byron Leftwich go out there if he were at serious risk. They know what they're doing. The head coach must rely on them.
How about any risk when you're talking about multi-million dollars instead?
Well, the risk is don't play football. Anybody. My doctor said that to me. We just tell all you guys don't play. It's too dangerous.
Yeah, you know,
it is.
And I understand the doctor saying all that, but ultimately doesn't it come down to the coach? I mean, you can get the clean bill, but the coach could say, you know what? It's not worth what possible risk there may be. And there certainly is a risk. And the player, again, my dad taught me from a young age, if you can walk, you can play. Is that the smartest mentality in the world? No, but that's the way I was brought up, Bill. It's the way you were brought up. It's the way a lot of people play football. And you know what? He can barely walk to play right now, but he is. So he's out there, as most people would try and be. That's why it certainly falls on other people to step into this situation.
Most people wouldn't play football.
Well, that's true. Most football players, I'm saying,
and smash their face into 300-pound people.
Most football players would be out there.
And the doctors cleared him.
Well, steps up, fires complete, and they will give first down yardage to the 41-yard line. And slow getting up is Marriott, but he does make the catch. And let's go down to Dr. Jerry Punch.
And guys, University of Louisville Athletic Director Tom Jurich has been kind enough to come down. And Tom, I know it's been a difficult halftime. I've never heard of a press conference called at halftime. Unfortunately, you were forced to do that. What did you have to say?
Well, I just told him I was contacted today by Ron Mason at Michigan State today, and they wanted permission. I granted it for them to talk to John L. That's all we know.
The timing was so difficult. I know as an athletic director, you understand coaches get phone calls, but it's a shame this couldn't have waited until tomorrow.
It shocked me. I wish it would have. You know, as you can see, it's become a bigger story in the game, and that's unfair.
You know, I know John L., even if he was contacted, wanted to keep this away from the players and not have a distraction. That's the comments before the game, is keep it away from the kids so they could focus on this football game tonight.
Well, John L. worked very hard for this game, and I know these things happen in our business. We certainly know it, but it's a disappointment.
And whatever happens tomorrow for John L., he's had a great 5 years at Louisville.
Done a great job at the university. I don't think anybody can ever take that away from him. The way he took over that program, led him to 5 straight bowl games. You know, we're very proud, and hopefully he'll stay with us.
Hey, Tom, thanks for coming down. We appreciate it.
You bet.
Guys?
Now, that job has been open for 6 weeks, and they contact a school on the day they are playing their bowl. That's incredible.
I think that's, as Tom Jurich said, disappointing. And I think it is disappointing. I don't know why Michigan State and Ron Mason would do that on game day.
Leftwich after a 5-yard mark-off, and that's the danger. You get out there, you're vulnerable. He's hopping around. He is defenseless, and somehow he gets up again.
And I guess that's the point, Bill, and I completely agree with you. The doctors cleared him to play, and I understand that. But this man is defenseless. He's going to catch one in the chops, in the chest, somewhere, somehow, and that could lay him out. And I know you take that risk all the time, but he has put in an incredible risk because he can't move.
I can't believe he's out there. I really can't. Bill, I understand it's football, but it's not just any football player, and it's not just any situation. He's got an incredible future ahead of him. Flags down.
Oh, flag.
It's amazing.
16th penalty.
Delayed game. on the offense. 5-yard penalty, remains second down.
Penalty number 16. Bill, I'm just sensing you're on the Coach Pruitt side on this.
Well, I'm on the side of being careful with the players and listening to your team physicians, because that's the only side you can be on as a coach. I've been in that coaching situation so many times, and if the doctors clear the guy and if he really wants to play, that is just the standard by which you go. In their judgment, he's not at undue risk.
Maybe not the shin, but the rest of his body's going to be like that.
Down again. And the catch is made by Wallace. It may not be the shin that gets hurt. It may be another body part because he can't move.
And I tell you what, you know, a boxer may still be able to throw punches, but if he can't defend himself, they stop the fight.
Those big guys up front are supposed to take care of defending themselves. And the thing about injuring another, the thing that I would be most concerned about if I were Byron is the fact that it does change your throwing motion. You could actually hurt your elbow or your shoulder because you're not throwing normally. And the other thing is his mind is not working normally because he's taken 2 delay of game penalties, and I have to confess that, and he's only had 3 for the year. So he never lets that happen. He is distracted by the pain, and at some point, the coach may very well take him out. I'm only defending the Marshall program as saying they are not exploiting this young man when the doctors have cleared him to play. And he wouldn't be out there had he not been cleared.
And we both agree with that, right, Dave?
Right. And, Jerry, you've watched this whole thing. If you're the team doctor, are you letting him stay out there?
You know, I spoke with the team physicians at halftime in the Marshall locker room. I said, you know, and I just simply said, you know, if a kid had a fracture, and I'm just, you know, hypothesizing, if he had a fracture and you let him play, man, that is a huge gamble, not only for the kid, but for the physician, and everyone agreed that that would be a huge gamble. And they said, again, reiterated that the x-ray showed no change, and they had told me yesterday that the MRIs and x-rays initially were negative. Now, my concern, being devil's advocate, you're talking about what you guys were commenting a moment ago about something else being injured, with that air cast on, and hopefully this would not be that would happen, but with the air cast splitting that left ankle and left lower leg, that cannot give. If he gets a blow on the knee with the foot planted, then it could be very ugly, and we're talking about serious ramifications for years to come for what could be a glorious NFL career. So hopefully that will not happen. That lady right there knows she's very proud of her son. She raised him, going 2 different jobs, and he is so proud of what she has done for him. But unbelievable effort tonight, and I'm a little afraid for the young man, quite honestly, watching on the sidelines. I wish he would sit down here for the rest of the night.
No, I never said I wasn't afraid for him. I'm concerned about him. But I'm just trying to tell you how it works in actual practice.
Comes up with another beauty. Marriott over the shoulder at the 25.
That's the throw, that outside throw.
And as he stepped forward and tried to put weight after delivering this, I mean, it almost collapses right underneath it. That was a couple plays before.
We're getting hit. But yeah, it's an upper body throw right now. I mean, because he can't step into it, and he's certainly at 6'6", 248 is strong enough to make the upper body throw. And what accuracy.
Well, you see what Mom's concern looks like. If I were a Marshall fan at this point, I'd say, Byron, thanks for an incredible career, and let's see Stan Hill. It would be too painful to contemplate every single snap what he has to be thinking could happen in the back of his mind. And yet through it all, stays out there. Another completion, toss to Darius Watts at the 20.
Well, there you see again, short passes, long passes. You know, we had the grading scale up early on both Regona and Leftwich, and the kid certainly can do it all.
Let me put this in another perspective. You're the Louisville defense. You're Chris Smeelan, the defensive coordinator. Do you go after this guy? Is that cruel and inhuman? I mean, do you send extra blitzers? Because Marshall's had trouble picking up the blitz tonight.
Well,
and he only got burned once when he was in blitz coverage. So it's an interesting question.
You absolutely go after him. This is an immobile quarterback who is planted in the pocket. I absolutely go after him. Not go after the injury, but I go after him.
Marriott again, and a first down at the 13.
Well, they're choosing more often to rush with 3 and drop 8. And against Byron Leftwich, that doesn't work because he can throw in those narrow windows and on the outcuts. In fact, that time the cornerback fell down, which gave him a free shot.
Marriott, by the way, 33 yards from 1,000. And Watts has gone over 1,000 tonight. That would make 3 Marshall receivers all over 1,000 yards this year. Most schools are delighted to get one. To the end zone, too tall. Intended for Demetrius Doss, who has one of the 2 touchdowns tonight for Marshall.
And again, you say over 1,000. Dave, this is the first year where bowl stats count for the season. So
Right.
where normally in the past, the regular season, the stats would have ended. He would not have gotten over 1,000. If he does in the game tonight, it will count for this season.
Right. Rule change this year.
So that's Josh Davis, Denero Marriott, and Darius Watts, all 3 1,000-yard receivers, if in fact Marriott gets to 1,000.
Yep. All 70 catches or better, too. Wow. Leftwich to the back of the end zone and caught in the corner by Doss. His 2nd touchdown tonight. He had 1 all year coming in, and it's 23-7 Marshall.
The biggest defense in the NFL right now is that cover 2 defense. And one of the holes in the cover 2 defense is right where Leftwich is putting the ball on the money. Right on the top of the cornerback and in front of the safety, right on the sideline. He is hitting exactly where you can do damage in a 2-deep zone in a cover 2 situation in the NFL.
Head to the extra point. Well, as you marvel at Leftwich's ability to play despite pain, you also have to marvel at how accurate he remains. Despite, who knows, 70, 75%, maybe not even that. 17 of 30, 183 yards. His 3rd touchdown of the night. Has the Herd up 24-7. Ten plays, 54 yards. Byron Leftwich 6 of 7 on the drive, which pushes the lead to 24-7. Very gingerly landing after throwing a 2nd touchdown to Doss. And that's all he gets?
Yeah.
Come on, Nate.
Hey, that's a lot for an O-lineman.
Pick him up and carry him to the bench.
No, O-linemen save energy. That's a lot of love right there. Now, thanks, man.
But he does
appreciate you out here.
He does have a special relationship with that O-line.
Does he ever? I went to practice day before yesterday. He had on number 58. That was Jeff Edwards' number. He had worn every lineman's number on successive days.
This time Clark will not bring it out. Last drive, pretty much all Byron Leftwich. And a couple times had to, again, pick himself up off the turf. And end it 6 of 7. A strike to Marriott. And then into the corner of the end zone to Demetrius Doss. All in a day's work.
The thing to watch that football is the ballistic, what is it? The ballistics. The spin is so, and it will cut through wind, it will cut through rain, and it will be more accurate than a ball does not spin like that.
Lionel Gates. Louisville down 17. They start with 3 yards up through the middle. J.T. Rembert on the tackle.
I knew I could say that too.
Yeah, well, we've seen Leftwich live up to some of the ratings. Now it's time for Ragone to do it. He's had some passes batted down. He's been hit when he's delivered the ball. He's made some bad decisions. He has made some good throws. Took the team down on one nice drive, but he has not been having that stellar of a game.
Should say not. 6 of 19, 68 yards. And for the most part, well protected. This one he'll tuck and run and come up a couple of yards shy of the marker at the 28. Another tackle by Yancey Satterwhite, 3rd and 2.
Now, I'm telling you, when he bursts out of there like that, he has a burst. He's not a big old slow guy. I think, Mr. Golick, you need to give him his due.
No, I do.
I'm not saying he's a great runner. I'm just saying that guy, you know, he's got him up there so they got a 3rd and 2.
Right, and what did I say? I said he can get out of the pocket, he can get you, he can run to a first down, but he's not going to break any off 40 or 50 yarders for a touchdown. And that's exactly what he'll never know. Won't do it. Everybody better fall down out there.
Quick toss, incomplete, but here's the flag. Intended for Clark and covered and perhaps interfered with by Satterwhite. This would be 10 Marshall penalties.
Pass interference on the defense The penalty will place the ball at the spot of the foul, automatic first down.
Well, Yancey's got that. Yancey, you put your hand all over his back, son. That's what it was. They're going to call it every time.
Our Home Depot storyline, Leftwich 17 of 30 for 183 and 3 touchdowns. Ragone 6 of 19. John L. Smith, rumors are swirling, maybe headed to Michigan State. Throw on the run out of bounds. Intended for Victor Glenn.
And Bill, we're talking about Ragone. Don't get me wrong. I really do like the kid. I like his size. I like his toughness. And he needed to be tough this year because he has been hit so many times. 43 sacks, hit so many times more than that. And this kid just gets up and keeps throwing the ball. And another penalty flag.
Almost to the point where we will assume there's a flag until otherwise notified.
One thing that happens in bowl preparation, we'll listen to the call here.
Illegal motion on the offense. That penalty is declined. Second down.
You get away from some of your fundamentals. You get a little careless with your formations. And if you don't practice as if it were spring practice with real attention to those details, then you end up with a game like this with a million penalties. And it really is distracting.
Take the draw to Gates. Now in trouble. Nice open field block. And Ragone chased all the way across the field by the defensive tackle Orlando Washington. That is pursuit. Second team all MAC defensive tackle. Well, Friday night at 6:30 Eastern. Number 5 Western Kentucky, number 1 McNeese State for the Division I AA National Championship on ESPN2. They met earlier. McNeese State handed Western Kentucky its third and most recent loss of the year, 38-13, but that was back on September 28th. That was at Lake Charles. They'll play for the national title Friday night, 6:30 Eastern.
And we talk about good decisions and bad decisions. That was a good decision by Ragone to pull that ball down and run and get them in a 3rd and 1 situation.
He ran about 100 yards.
He did.
3rd and 2, incomplete. Satterwhite this time with no flag defends against Broderick Clark.
The other thing we haven't said enough, talking to John Pettis, the Louisville offensive coordinator, he said we were like Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid this year. Who are these guys? All of Ragone's major weapons are on the bench. They got hurt this year. He lost people like
well, Ronnie Gent, tight end.
Yep. Ronnie Gent, yeah, the name escaped me for a second there. Spillman, a great wide receiver. Dorsey, another fine wide receiver.
Fake and broken up. Wow. Nate Smith tried a shovel pass and it was broken up by Jameis Martin, and you just can't fool Marshall.
Boy, oh boy. Tried a little shuffle pass, just tried to dump it over the head of Martin. Martin was having none of it.
Not a bad idea. No execution, though. And from the 42-yard line, Marshall will take over. Battleship Alabama. We want to welcome the men and women of the 1st Infantry Division watching our GMAC Bowl coverage tonight on the American Forces Network, serving proudly as part of Task Force Falcon in Kosovo. Happy holidays. Thanks for all you do. Hope you're enjoying this one. Korean War Monument over there by the battleship in Mobile Bay, not too far from Ladd-Peebles Stadium.
We talk about tough with the football players. Those are some tough people we just saw. They're serving our country.
Yeah, we need every one of them.
Yep.
Leftwich still out there. First down from the 42. Incomplete. Sandwiched in a crowd and knocked off his feet again. Intended for Wallace. Dwayne White got to him a couple times early and close here.
Guys up front are fighting hard. They've fought off all kinds of stunts. This time White is close again.
That's almost worth the flag, isn't it?
Curricular, yeah, and that's unnecessary by White. Absolutely, after the play, well after the play, grab him by the helmet and throw him on the ground. Not good. Don't need that stuff in college football.
Especially on a guy playing on one leg out there. Pumps, Floats one up, incomplete. Intended for Josh Davis and broken up by Curry Burns.
And I agree we don't need that out there, but Dave, I will say the defense can't be concerned that he's playing on one leg.
I'm not talking about playing on one leg.
No, I know that.
Talking
the
about
officials have got to protect him.
I understand what you're saying, Bill. I said I understood that. I was talking about Dave saying the guy hopping on one leg. If this defense gets a legal shot at that guy, they take it.
It was not a legal shot.
I didn't say it was a legal shot.
Grab the guy by the helmet and throw his face in the mud.
Bill, are you listening to me at all?
Never.
Okay.
Yeah, more aimed at the officials for protecting him by throwing a flag.
Right.
So 3rd and 10. Play clock winding down to 4. And Leftwich gets it off. They come after him. Well protected this time. He goes down again, and it's intercepted. This is a big return for J.T. Haskins. Finally hog-collared by Darius Watts at the 40-yard line.
The first time I saw J.T. Haskins play football, he was 8 years old in Lexington, Kentucky, playing for my buddy, Coach K.T. Smith, in the Little League program there. And I used to go over and talk to the kids. J.T. came up to me, yes, you said, do you know who I am? And I said, no, you'll have to tell me. He said, I played for Coach Smith in Lexington in the Little League. Those kids played on high school fields, had a wonderful league, and look at this guy accelerate. Uh-oh.
Leftwich trying to get a block. Reach out and grab somebody.
You know, that Leftwich should have been called for holding, tripping right
You won't
there.
yell at the quarterback, but you yell at the D lineman, huh?
No, he shouldn't have done that.
39-yard return. Ragone throwing back across the grain and incomplete. Intended for Broderick Clark. Jerry, Leftwich, until that interception, still out there. Are you surprised he's still out there?
Well, you know, I'm told, and what I hear is it's his decision to play. It's his final game. And I'm also talking about, with regard to this injury, what can happen is a doctor and coach can sit down with a player, and they can tell him, here are the risks and the ramifications of you playing on this leg at its current state. You decide. And if the young man decides to play, then it's his decision. That's what I've told it by one of the doctors, that it was his decision to play in this situation.
T.J. Patterson to the 33. And 3rd and 3 coming.
Now, Bill, you won't find many players that say no, will you, though? I mean, players.
Oh, you're not kidding. Yeah, there are a lot of players that, oh, I think I'll drop out. I'm going to say this one more time and say it properly. Ragone is without his 3 big guns. Ronnie Gent, the leading tight end receiver in the country when he got hurt. Dante Spillman and Damian Dorsey. Those guys aren't playing. They're the 3 big weapons for Ragone.
Looking left, right, now back left, and almost intercepted by Terrence Tarpley.
Nice protection, too. Really nice job of pocket protection. I'd say the Louisville offensive line getting well at this time has been a very good thing for Ragone tonight.
In the second half, he is 0 for 7. In the game, 6 of 23, still only 68 passing yards. For the 3-time Conference USA Offensive Player of the Year. He doesn't have all his weapons, but this is a remarkable defensive job we're seeing from Marshall. And having to go for it on 4th and 4, and that one's not even close. One of his poor throws of the night for Broderick Clark.
He's really struggling.
Boy, he is. That one's all on the quarterback there. He is struggling. He's getting some pretty good protection. This is one he's got to lay in there.
Yeah, and he's got his man.
Yep.
In this case, Broderick Clark's got a step on the inside of his defender.
As if he needed to, Byron Leftwich continues to prove his toughness, and Dave Ragone, meanwhile, not helping himself at all tonight.
ESPN2's exclusive presentation of the 2002 GMAC Bowl. Brought to you by Subway. Fresh-made sandwiches on fresh-baked bread. Subway. Eat fresh.
The Mardi Gras parade, don't you think they ought to have a little higher standards?
Oh.
Ride those floats. Good heavens.
Look at those guys.
Look at
We were
that.
supposed to be throwing moon pies out, but Golick ate all of them.
They were good, too. All I needed was a gallon of milk. That would have been set. That's nice painting right there.
That is Frenchie from New Orleans, who This is a fixture at Saints games. They've invited Frenchie come east and pretty up the scene here in Mobile. Brandon Carey. Pile rolls sideways, maybe a gain of a foot.
When you got an offense like Marshall's, these are the moments when you need to eat up some clock and run the football, and you really don't work that kind of offense very much. And they aren't a great running team, and now's the time they need to be able to take some time off this clock.
4.5 minutes to go in the third quarter. All Marshall in time of possession. 16-6 advantage in first downs. The out for Marriott, and he didn't turn around in time. Incomplete. But what a night it's been for Denaro Marriott. 9 catches for 111 yards and a touchdown. So still 33 yards shy of 1,000 for the year.
Well, we saw right off the bat, too, Leftwich was going to him. He said he was going to be the man tonight.
Another nice job by J.T. Haskins in man coverage 31. The reason Leftwich threw it away is because there was nothing there. He didn't want to risk another interception.
Marriott last year in this game caught 15 balls for 234 yards and a touchdown, and that 64-61 crazy double overtime win over East Carolina.
It was a covered up tight end. That penalty is declined. Third down.
Covered up tight end means that a receiver lined up on the line of scrimmage with the tight end inside him, and then the tight end ran down as if to catch a pass. That's illegal. He becomes an ineligible receiver when the wide receiver covers him, meaning he's on the line of scrimmage outside him.
So 3rd and 9. 3-man rush. And a screen set up, and just as soon as it opens up, it ends. Dwayne White reacting to drag down Carey.
Boy, Dwayne White, I tell you, and he has played every D-line position tonight. They're moving him around both ends and both inside tackles as well. Again, 55 career tackles for loss, 36.5 career sacks. Team leader in both. He'll be playing on Sunday.
So Dwayne White last year against East Carolina, break his hand, go get a cast put on it on the sideline, go right back in the game and get 2 sacks. Some thinking this may be his final game in a Cardinal uniform.
A dead ball. Snap infraction on the offense. 5-yard penalty. It remains 4th down.
Snap infraction.
A snap infraction means that the center moved the ball and did not complete the snap properly.
Look at this reaction. Looks like they got a wall set up. All of a sudden, White leaps and drags Carey down after a very short gain, and so Curtis Head again ready to kick to Robert Haskins.
Okay, while we got a second here, Corey Dennison, number 68, is the long snapper, and he apparently moved the ball, which is a snap infraction on the previous play. So he drew Louisville off, and it was a 5-yard penalty against Marshall. Once you start moving the football, you got to go ahead and snap it and pull it through.
Pretty good kick. Angled toward the side and bounces out at the 20. No chance for a Haskins return.
Guess what's on the field? Flag.
Yeah, the center was holding. The guy lined up right next to him. I couldn't see who it was. He has to snap the ball, move over, and block the guy. Whoever it was had penetration on him, so he just wrestled him to the ground.
And you absolutely want to take this penalty, back him up and have him kick it again.
Yep. So this will be 10 yards for holding, and they'll call it on the center, the long snapper. Can't tell you.
On the kicking team, 10-yard penalty, remains 4th down.
Watch your long snapper, 68, Corey Dennison. He snaps the ball. He's got to move to his left and block that man. He doesn't get there, so it's the old tackle Rooney right there.
And that was Brandon Johnson who got up limping, too.
Yeah, and Brandon Johnson has blocked 3 punts this year, and he darn sure would have blocked that one. So You have to say it was one of those good holes.
Good tackle, Rooney.
They pick him up again. Third time's a charm. Not much of a punt, though, but at least there are no yellow markers out there.
You like that, do you?
I did.
So,
that was really nice.
30 yards, but this one will stand. Not exactly a work of art at all moments tonight, Mobile. Oh, as if you didn't know, we're down to 6 more shopping days before Christmas. Pressure is mounting. Mike, you're running out of time. Have you bought my present yet?
Yeah, I think my wife went out and bought. I mean, yes, I think I did. I think I secured your present.
All right.
Gallipolis, Ohio missed school today. They're so happy.
How does he have time to take in a football game?
Santa.
He's on deadline.
His L's working right now.
Ragone down the line for Broderick Clark. And pushed out by Crocker just across midfield down to Jerry Punch.
Guys, Dave Ragone's role model for work ethic was his dad, Frank, who came over from Barra, Italy at the age of 25 and got a job slinging a sledgehammer, busting up concrete. Now, Dave said he watched his dad growing up. His dad said, you may be bigger, you may be stronger, but you're not going to outwork me. That work ethic led his dad, Frank, to now own that concrete company. And he still picks up a sledge every now and then at the age of 66 to show the young kids how it's done. So great work ethic and a great role model for Dave Ragone.
Should say so. T.J. Patterson, first down. One of only a handful tonight for the Cardinals. Just their 7th of the game. Nighttime NFL action coming up this weekend. Saturday night, a primetime doubleheader starts at 8:30 Eastern with the Eagles visit to Texas Stadium. Might be your last chance to see Emmitt Smith play in Dallas in a Cowboy uniform. There is that speculation. Eagles playing for home field advantage through the NFC playoffs. Cowboys perhaps playing for Dave Campo's job. Ragone gunning open, overthrown is Clark at the 5. Had a couple of steps on Roberto Terrell.
And you know, we've been talking a lot tonight, as we see another flag on the field. This is holding against Louisville. We talked about the receivers missing for Louisville. We talked about Ragone missing some receivers out there making some bad decisions and some drops. You know what? We certainly have to give credit to Marshall. They're 4th in the country in pass defense, giving up just 157 yards a game. They're doing things right on that side.
On the offense, 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Replay, second down.
But you know, this performance tonight for Louisville, they're still at only 123 total yards. This is their 8th penalty of the night. Holding right there. This performance belies what they thought they had corrected after that Houston game. They thought they had worked through the initial depression. They were encouraged by the amount of fire they showed in their practices leading up to tonight, and it turns out that apparently was a mirage.
Well, they have not come out here and laid an egg tonight. They are playing hard. Apparently in the Houston game, John L. was so disappointed because they didn't really lay it on the line and give effort with a chance to tie for the conference championship. But they have played hard. The only way Marshall scored on them is just with that uncanny accuracy by Leftwich.
Second and 15. Great reaction again defensively by Willie Smith.
And what you do when you force that sort of, people say, well, why do you blitz when it's 2nd and 15 yards? You force the quarterback to make the hot throw, and then you have somebody like Willie Smith in perfect position in man coverage to make the tackle for a short gain. Now it's 3rd and 14. Very good defensive call by Bill Wilk, the Marshall defensive coordinator, and they are superb in pass coverage.
They are not superb on 3rd down tonight. Antoine Harris got only a yard over the middle. What looked like a good call. Ragone stepping up. No way he's going to keep for 14 yards. He does cough it up, but they're going to call him down at the line of scrimmage.
Oh, I think
at the original line of scrimmage, the 45, and he may not have been down. It didn't look like. Let's watch.
He got a nice call there, because that looked like to me that ball was out before he got on the ground.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Lord, yes.
Yep.
Wow, how do you make that call? Bobby Gaston, the head of the SEC officials, will jump all over that, and he's here tonight.
James Martin caused the fumble. Ruled no fumble.
Here comes the roll right punt.
Rugby.
There's a little pooch motion. And too much roll. Couldn't quite get that one tracked down. But it's been a long time since I've seen something brand new on a football field. And this Nate Smith punting technique would qualify.
I saw it just last week in a rugby game.
Well, I said on a football field.
That's football. Well, they play football on a rugby, or rugby on a football field sometime.
Marshall with 10 seconds to go in the third quarter.
Rolls right. Just a little pooch kick, and always gets that great roll.
You know, if you're going to do that, you might as well have him drop kicking. I mean, try and get some points out of it. Richie Wallace turns it upfield, one of the best runs of the night. Gain of 15 yards as time runs out on the third quarter. Wallace slow getting up too. Leftwich has gotten up time and again. Marshall is perfect this year, leading after 3 quarters, and they're pretty comfortable in the GMAC Bowl, leading 24-7 over Louisville in Mobile, Alabama. Fourth quarter now from Mobile. The GMAC Bowl still led comfortably by number 24 Marshall. Coming up on ESPN in about 7 minutes or so. Sports Center, we'll do 11 Eastern. Dave Barnett, Bill Curry, Mike Golick, Dr. Jerry Punch. Marshall 24-7. And Byron Leftwich for all but one series at quarterback with a badly bruised shin, which continues to render him basically defenseless when forced to scramble, which has happened on numerous occasions tonight. This is a give to Wallace, who was slow getting up last time and is going to take a while to peel himself up again on this first play of the fourth quarter. Junior tailback out of Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, who looks over at the sideline. Bob Pruitt does not send in a replacement. Wallace stays out there for 2nd down and 9. And now timeout will be called, official timeout, and they will send Wallace over for attention.
He hit his head on the turf, and he's spacey, and he knows he needs to come out. And
he got thrown down
they got
hard.
Yeah, landed on his head.
Yeah, Tyrone Satterfield for Louisville really tossed him down pretty good.
Brandon Carey checks in. Leftwich 18 for 35, 187 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. That was almost an interception, and Dwayne White could have taken it all 30 yards. Dangerous floater intended for Carey.
Remembering his old days as a running back in high school, he grew up the hard way, but at least he got to run with the football in high school, and then became a defensive lineman when he got to Louisville. And he would love to have plucked that and lumbered into the end zone.
You know, he's got some pretty good instinct, Bill. For that, he sniffed out the short pass before, cut across, made a nice play, played all the different positions tonight.
He's an outstanding player. He had a great year as a junior, not nearly as impressive this year, according to his coaches.
Pretty good recruiting coup. Louisville had to battle Tennessee Tech and Alabama State for the services of Dwayne White. All-time sack leader in their history. Jason Rader hasn't gotten a whole lot of attention. The tight end, though, will have first down yardage at the 46-yard line. Our game track through 3 quarters. John L. Smith, the rumors started soon after kickoff that Michigan State had asked for and received permission to talk to him for their head coaching opening. Leftwich, one of his 3 touchdowns. 2 have gone to Demetrius Doss, the other to Denaro Marriott. Limping every step of the way. Dave Ragone 8 for 26, 78 yards. Maybe ending his Louisville career with his worst performance ever. And Leftwich tosses that one into his own bench. He had Josh Davis over there. For some reason elected not to give him a shot.
One thing that Marshall has been able to convert reasonably well, almost 50%, 7 out of 15 on third down. Louisville 0 for 10 on third down conversion. That alone would account for the difference in the football game, along with the 1 turnover by Louisville, which led to a touchdown by Marshall.
Marshall has given the Cardinal offense a grand total of 133 total yards. Close to a first down for Darius Watts. Maybe a foot shy. Covered by Chris Johnson.
Yeah, he's a little, just a hair short, but nice delivery by Leftwich. That's got to be the responsibility of the wide receiver to make sure you are far enough. Make sure you're at the sticks or a little bit beyond, that if you have to come back for the ball, it's first down.
Here comes Stan Hill on 3rd and 1. Very wise move. Bring in number 4. He can run the option. He can hand it off in the I formation and keep this drive alive, hopefully, for Marshall.
Draw play, they give to Carey. Brandon Carey has the first down. You also saw Watts holding his hand as he headed off the field ahead of Leftwich after the previous play.
Now that makes Marshall 8 for 16 on third down conversions, and that's a very, very respectable number. That's better than their season average of 45%. So they're getting close to their real number here on offense. And our director, John Del Vecchio, says, why aren't they running out the clock? They would argue we are running out the clock.
That's exactly right.
This is our offense. We throw the ball.
Watts back out there. Leftwich fires for him, and a sliding catch at the 25.
Like that.
This is a la the Oakland Raiders in the NFL. This is their running game. It's a short passing game to a mid-range passing game, and take your shots over the top. This is how they control the ball. It's a little in route, nice pass.
A lot of man-to-man coverage from Louisville. They like that man free, bringing 5 people, and they've stopped changing up their coverages as much as they did early in the game.
Watts had 5 stitches on his right pinky. He also battled food poisoning this week. Missed a lot of practice time. No sliding grab this time, intended for Doss.
There's a situation where the injury can come into play. That's one of the harder throws. He's on the left hash and he's throwing to the right side of the field toward the sideline. That's a long throw, and he throws all upper body now because he can't step into the throw at all. So that made that one difficult.
Well, when Leftwich has thrown it, he has looked downfield. Very few dump offs. Not much to Raiders tight end. Four targets to choose from. He will float this one for Marriott. Gathers it in for another touchdown.
And that's the 98 play, because he turned and shouted it right up to in our face. 98, 98. So we know what the 98 is. It's at least 3 verticals on this side. He's reading the safeties in the corner, and he sees that the Curry Burns number 12 is beat, and it's a touch.
Extra point makes it 31-7. Denaro Marriott's 10th catch of the night, 137 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's 7 yards shy of 1,000. I guess that's not technically a reindeer. So no, he would be off duty this week.
Reindeer are basically look like deer on steroids. It's got to be big like that to pull Santa.
How would you know what a deer looked like on steroids?
That's a reindeer.
How would you know what anything looks like on steroids?
When I used to get tested.
Don't answer that.
When I used to get tested for steroids in the NFL, I used to just send a snapshot of me with my shirt off to the league. It's all right, don't worry, no test, don't worry about it.
He passes. Please, no more pictures. Picked up by Clark. There has just not been a whole lot of fight at all in the Louisville Cardinals tonight. They're down 31-7 with 11:24 to play. They may be, maybe we'll find out as soon as tomorrow, maybe after tonight, who knows. They may be playing their final quarter for John L. Smith. Rumors swirling all night about contact from Michigan State. They're interested in filling their head coaching position, possibly by offering the job to John L. Smith. Jerry Punch has been on top of that all night. We have been sold out for a couple of days here in Mobile, and 40,600 plus watching the 4th annual GMAC Bowl, all Marshall from the very beginning. This was the site of maybe the most incredible comeback in college football history last year. Richard Owens makes the catch. It was 38-8 East Carolina over Marshall at the half in that game. It went double overtime. Marshall won the highest scoring bowl game in history, 64-61. Well, if Louisville has similar thoughts, they better get cranking.
Well, I wonder where Richard Owens has been. He looked so good when he caught the ball across the middle in the first half, and this is the next time we've seen him with the football.
We may come close to the 4 hours 27-minute part.
Kidding. About 1,100 yards.
Well, tonight, total of 459 combined yards. Swing pass out to Henry Miller, who has only touched it a couple of times tonight.
Well, based on what I've seen from Louisville prior to tonight, this offensive line has vastly improved their protection. Ragone hadn't been hit in nearly the same fashion that he had been the rest of the year.
Pardon the interruption, will follow. Under 11 minutes to go. Ragone has hit his last 4 to bring him up to 9 for 27 for the night. 87 yards. This for Conference USA's most efficient passer. A 55% thrower this year. Another swing pass for Miller. And right at the first down marker at the 48. Friday night, the 1AA National Championship game, 6:30 Eastern on ESPN2. Western Kentucky in a rematch against McNeese State. Cowboys whooped them 38-13 in Lake Charles, Louisiana, back on September 28th. And they play Friday night for the 1AA national title here on ESPN2.
Well, we see that championship game after the playoff, and everybody wonders, when will that happen? If, when, maybe, will it?
As soon as somebody figures out a reasonable way to do something for the players.
On the
increase scholarships or do something, because the players are not stupid. And if $600 million is generated or some such number, the players are going to say, excuse me, you're going to do anything for us? That's what Derek Brooks said when we were in the committee meeting to discuss the whole idea, and the playoff went away after Derek's question. That was in 1995.
Think about what it would be if you went to 8 teams. You took the top 8 teams in the BCS. You'd take out, look at the 8 teams playing now, take out Florida State, and you put in Kansas State, go 1 through 8, and have a playoff with those 8 teams that are in there. And that's pretty inviting.
Early movement by Jerry Spencer.
But back to the O-line, Spencer and Spitz, which is the strong side of the Louisville offensive line because they flip-flop. Here's the call.
Movement in the offensive line. That's a 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
Center Dan Coons, Will Rabatine, Travis LaFew. That offensive line has had one of their better nights, even though it hasn't been productive for the team.
They are coming after Ragone. He gets it over the middle and intercepted by Satterwhite. Another poor throw intended for Russell. Satterwhite on the return is down near the 30-yard line.
He threw it exactly where, or he threw it to the man he wanted to throw it to, but it was an awful throw. He had the blitz coming. He knew exactly where he wanted to go with it. Just a bad throw. Satterfield was a recipient of it. He knew it was coming, and he knew where he had to go.
Satterwhite, 2 interceptions coming in. Great job keeping his balance after picking that one off.
That was a
turns
great
it into a
catch.
31-yard return.
And a great catch.
So the Marshall defense keeps Dave Ragone bottled up. And this right now may be his poorest performance ever. 14 of 39 against Kentucky this year. Cardinals started the season off on the wrong note. This is Carey. He was 11 for 31 against Cincinnati, only 91 yards. And tonight, 11 of 30 for 104 yards. And now that interception, no touchdown.
You can tell they don't run the ball a lot at Marshall. It used to have this big a lead. Brandon Carey needs to stay in bounds.
Yeah, well, Tyrone Satterfield, 93, is all over the field, knocking people around, playing hard, and he wasn't going to let him stay in bounds. He drilled him. Then he got to talking to him, and the official had a few words for Satterfield.
Motion by Rader, and another give to Brandon Carey. Leftwich, by the way, 97 yards shy now of 12,000 passing yards for his career. He is the first to throw 4 touchdowns in 2 separate bowl games. He has 89 touchdown passes now. That ties him with Peyton Manning, 7th all-time in Division I-A history. And Marriott still 7 yards shy of 1,000 for the season, which would give the Thundering Herd 3 1,000-yard receivers this year for the 2nd straight year. Oh, almost intercepted by Chad Lee, the middle linebacker.
And another number, some more numbers you might be interested in. If Byron Leftwich is the #1 pick in the NFL draft, you get about $15 million signing bonus. If he goes to the Bengals #1, Chicago Bears may be in need of another quarterback. If they pick 3, 4, or 5, about 8, 9, 10 million to sign. Some other good numbers.
4th down and 9.
That's about like your radio show, isn't it?
Oh, let me get a stomachache laughing so hard at that one.
Going for it from the 31. That one for Darius Watts, but out of bounds. Well, somebody that's very interested in those numbers. That would be Brenda Leftwich, Byron's mom, and she'll talk with Dr. Jerry Punch when we come back to Mobile. There she is, 9 minutes to go here. And Byron and the Herd comfortably dominating the Louisville Cardinals tonight, 31-7. We'll hear from Brenda when we come back.
And back at Ladd People Stadium in Mobile, Alabama, I am amidst the Thundering Herd with Brenda Leftwich. And Mom, you've got one tough young man. It's got to be awfully tough on you to watch him out there limping around, though, in pain.
Oh, yes, it is. It's very tough. I told him, I said, when you get home Friday, I'm going to take and make an old-fashioned remedy and put it on that leg, get that limp out of it.
Would you have liked to have seen him come out and maybe not try to play this game as tough as it's been on him?
Kind of, but then I know, knowing Byron the way that I know him, to ask him to come out of that game like that, you know, it would have been hard on him, you know. Because Byron is not going to ever stop playing ball. He's going to always do whatever he can do to help his team win. So.
He said when we asked him earlier, of all the things he's accomplished at Marshall, what is he the most proud of? And he told me without hesitation the fact that a week ago he got a diploma, and it's when he gets it in his hands, he's going to walk over and hand it to his mama, because she never thought she'd see one of her boys graduate from college.
That is so true. That is the main thing that I am most proud of Byron out of the last 5 years of being at Marshall. Not the football, him as a person and getting his degree.
Well, guys, this young lady right here, Byron told me, was his inspiration. She worked 2 jobs and told him always do something positive, never negative, make a difference in a positive way. And wow, has he done that over the last 4 years with the Thundering Herd.
Those lessons obviously soaked in.
And you never, go ahead, Dave.
Never, yeah, well, you were about to say it. You never see a frown. You never see him change expression, no matter what happens on the field.
And you never find a great young man in a college football setting, and I speak from experience, never without a great mom or a grandmother or somebody who's been by his side the whole time.
Well, Ragone fumbles. It's recovered by Jonathan Goddard. And so Stan Hill taking over now.
Travis LeFew ejected from the game for fighting.
And this is an untouched touchdown for Butchie Wallace. Another flag down, however.
What do you think about calling this game?
This would be 23 penalties.
Is there such a thing as a mercy rule in bowl games?
Offsides, touchdown.
Offside on the defense. Penalty is declined. Touchdown.
Tell me what, it says something about team out. Nobody touched that. Nobody touched him. Untouched.
No, and then the last 2 times that Ragone has run out of the pocket, he's put the ball on the ground. The official covered for him once, but that time, not so.
Head for the extra point. Marshall last year from 38 to 8 down to win it double overtime. Now they're up 38 to 7 with 8:34 to go. If it is John L. Smith's last night as the Cardinals head coach, boy, it's a long one, and it's getting longer.
ESPN2's exclusive presentation of the 2002 GMAC Bowl. Brought to you by GMAC, the financial services people from General Motors, and by 1010-220. Dial it, and all calls up to 20 minutes are 99 cents.
Some of the Christmas color here downtown Mobile, all dressed up for the holidays.
You're talking about a neat place now. Around here this time of year, Mobile's a neat place.
Fumble at the end of the return, but they're going to rule down at the 40.
Yeah, he was down that time.
Jonathan Jackerson. And the Cardinals take over from there. 8:22 to go. If this is John L. Smith's last game as the Cardinals head coach, and again, you weren't with us in the first half, Dr. Jerry Punch reporting that contact was made earlier today by Ron Mason, Michigan State's athletic director, to John Jurich, his counterpart with Louisville, asking for and receiving permission for the Spartans to talk with John L. Smith about their head coaching position, which has been open for 6 weeks, and yet somehow they picked today to make that request. Sure enough, the news got out, and Jurich had an impromptu news conference at halftime to discuss that story. Dr. Jerry Punch also reporting that the feeling down there on the sideline is that John L. Smith will accept that job. He's done such a terrific turnaround job here from 1 win, which he inherited, to 40-20, 5 years, 5 bowls. But what happened this year? This was a team that knocked off the number 4 team in the country, Florida State, the biggest win in school history. We're going almost in the grasp as he gets rid of that one. And from that point on, it's as if their season ended.
Well, John L. said in his interview with us on our conference call that a team is as good as its seniors, and you could just tell from the tone of his voice he wasn't specifically derogatory about individuals, but he has not been happy with the senior leadership on this squad. He's had players come out publicly. Henry Miller, the running back, came out publicly and said, we have issues. We are divided. We are not a together football team. And that's exactly how they've looked, especially in their most recent game against Houston and in this game.
In fact, that Houston game more even than the Florida State game, as Owens makes the catch, may be the signature result of this year, because they lost to a team that had fired its coach before knocking off the Cardinals, Dana Dimon.
And Bill, you've been through the process as a coach, fired, hired. If John L. were to go, and you're talking about the situation in Louisville right now, would that pretty much not give John Pettis or Chris Meelan, the offensive defensive coordinator, would they not be considered for it because of the way this season ended in this game and against Houston and the problems that seem to be going on? Would they want to look on the outside to bring in?
Another fumble. Will Rabatine falls on it for the Cardinals.
Well, the ball never got, it seemed like the center, it must have slipped out of his hands. It looked as if the ball literally slipped out of Dan Kuhn's hand and just landed on the ground, never got to the quarterback. Well, I don't think you can say that. I don't think you can say that it's a coordinator's responsibility. If Tom Jurich thinks one of the coordinators is qualified, one or both, he can consider them. And certainly I don't think that those factors would keep that from happening. But I'll tell you this, if Michigan State has not offered the job, those two performances might alter their feeling about John L. Smith, and John L. Smith might change his feelings about leaving this team at this time. All those kinds of things figure in these situations. And yes, Michael, I have been folded, mutilated, stapled, and spindled by this process. I understand a lot about it.
Way more than you wish, right? Prime time action coming up over the weekend on ESPN. The Eagles and the Cowboys. Is it Emmitt Smith's last game in the Cowboy uniform at Texas Stadium? The Eagles battling for home field. That's at 8:30 Saturday night. Sunday, it's the Super Bowl champions, the Patriots, playing host to the Jets. Also 8:30 Eastern, beginning with NFL Primetime, presented by Miller Lite at 7:30. 4th and 10. And that'll draw a flag.
That'll draw about 6 of them.
Intended for Tinch, interference by Crocker. Wishful thinking on Chris's part.
Yeah, he was indicating that it was an uncatchable
Pass
ball.
interference on the defense. Ball will be placed at the spot of the foul. Automatic first down.
We got man coverage here. Chris jumps on it right now, and he's just having fun out there. He's running and smashing. He's hoping it's uncatchable, but this is great fun when you're on the top end of a score like this in a bowl game, and everybody knows they're going home for 4 weeks. They don't have to go to football practice tomorrow. They don't have to go to class. Everybody's looking forward, for one reason or another, to getting off this field.
Some of the Cardinals, I think, mentally have been off this field for quite some time tonight.
Yeah, in Chris Crocker's case, he said, hey, we weren't happy about that game last year on defense. We gave up 61 points to East Carolina. He's happy about the fact they've only given up 1 touchdown.
Ragone unable to get that one off. Had time, but ran out. Paul Sinclair and Torino Brown got to him.
That's your basic coverage sack, Mike.
Yeah, that's exactly right. We talk about Ragone holding on to the ball too long. He had to hold on to it because it was excellent coverage against us, the 4th rated pass defense in the country, as Marshall, giving up just 157 a game. Leftwich watching, having a ball, as are his teammates.
Well, Ragone is not. 13 of 33. 121 yards. One of his better efforts of the night, though. Close to a first down. Tiger Jones, a sophomore from here in Mobile, St. Paul's High School, who got a start tonight since it was his homecoming.
Now, you know, you talk about maybe wanting to get off this field. One thing I will recall is being a senior, and the realization at some point here is this is your last game. You know, this is the last game. Some of these guys will go on to all-star games. Some of these guys, it's an overthrow there by Ragone. Some of these guys will go on to the NFL, but playing for your team, this is the last game. And I mean, I certainly remember my last game. Bill, I'm sure you remember your last collegiate game with your teammates, and while one side is having a ball, the other side's getting whooped, there are seniors on both sides that this is it. And it's when it gets down to it, it can get pretty emotional.
Very emotional, and mine's not a pleasant memory, but it sure would be nice if it were. You want to win your last one, but you don't get to choose that.
That's right.
Is it Dwayne White's last one? People were wondering that even before kickoff tonight. Ragone on 4th and 1, running for his life, and sacked for a huge loss.
And unfortunately, that memory will linger with Dave Ragone. I hope he's not hurt. Get up, Dave.
Charles Tynes gets him for a loss of 16 on 4th and 1.
This is emblematic of the year for Ragone. This is how it's looked too much of the year. Through no fault of his own, he's got green shirts all up in his face and has no chance to do anything with the football. Flip side of that is for a large part of tonight, he has had decent protection and did not have one of his better nights.
43 times coming into tonight, Cardinals had allowed Ragone to be sacked, and 3 more tonight. That's the most of any quarterback in the country. Goodness, that's 2 or 3 years worth for a lot of quarterbacks. Wilbur Hargrove, redshirt freshman from Boynton, Virginia, brought down to the secondary by Anthony Floyd. So we've given Leftwich his well-deserved toughness points, and Dave Ragone's earned his all year.
Boy, he has. And it, again, when you're sacked that many times, multiply that by 3 or 4 as times you've been hit.
This guy is the winningest quarterback in the history of Louisville football. His record is 27. Will end up being 27-11. And it's a shame that he would go out being battered like this, but he will be remembered for the great records that he set and the fact that he led his team to 2 conference championships and Liberty Bowls, and the fact that he was the offensive player of the year in the conference 3 years running.
Hargrove. First down, 22-yard line. Let's go down to Jerry.
Well, guys, some people say he's simply a thrill seeker. Others, John L. Smith says, I'm just living life to the fullest. In the summertime during the offseason, he likes to go do things. 2 years ago, he went to Pamplona, and somewhere in that madness, there he is. John L. Smith is running with the Bulls. Then this past summer, how about skydiving? He jumped out of a perfectly good airplane at 6,000 feet. And yes, they pulled the ripcord. And John L. Smith came down and survived the skydive. And we are told this next summer his plans were to possibly climb Mount Kilimanjaro.
He jumped out of a perfectly good airplane.
He said yesterday that is going to happen. He is beating the path to East Africa this summer, and Mount Kilimanjaro, the highest peak on the continent, will be his next accomplishment. He has gone through a Marine boot camp. So just being the football coach, not risky enough, apparently, for John L.
If he went to Paris Island, he's my hero. If you did that, John, and nobody made you do it, you are a tough dude. That'd be like 3 Vince Lombardi training camps.
(38-7) Marshall. They will finish 11-2 for Bob Pruitt. He will go to 80-13. Has anybody done more quietly than Bob Pruitt has, following Jim Donnan in 7 years now at Marshall? Best record in Division 1A since 1997 in the country. It will be 65-13 since 97. Hargrove to the 43. And down here 3.5 minutes. I want to again thank the men and women of the military, fleet, and family support centers around the world who provide military service, members, and their families with assistance. Thanks for all your hard work and for tuning in to tonight's GMAC Bowl in 180 countries and aboard Navy ships at sea on the American Forces Network. Happy holidays from all of us at ESPN.
And we know it was a blowout you saw, but you got to see something you don't normally see, a halftime press conference.
Yeah, an athletic director talking about another athletic director who had called him on the day of their bowl game to ask to talk to his head coach. And Tom Jurich told Ron Mason he had permission, so that story will obviously gain new momentum as soon as the final gun happens. Bob Pruitt, Marshall graduate, perfect fit for that school. He has carried on what Jim Donnan and some others had established there through the Chad Pennington era, now all the way through the Byron Leftwich era. 22 of 44 in his final game in a thundering herd green and white uniform tonight. 249 yards, 4 more touchdowns to give him 30 for the year. The nation's total offense leader and all-time leading MAC passer. Pretty good backup wedge at the 5. All smiles over there on that side. Pardon the interruption is next. The thousands who have made their way from Huntington, West Virginia, soaking in every last second of another bowl victory. Their second straight here in Mobile. It's also the second time that they have met Louisville in the postseason. 1998 in the Motor City. They capped a 12-1 season, 48-29 over the Cardinals. Chad Pennington threw for 411 yards, 4 touchdowns. That was Marshall's first win in a Division 1A bowl. And it started what is now a 5-bowl win streak. Not a very memorable final game in a Cardinal uniform for Dave Ragone. Short completion to Henry Miller.
But certainly memorable for Leftwich, and I tell you, pretty impressive for Marshall right here.
If you were to guess, which school is the only one with 3 different top 6 Heisman candidates over the last 6 years? You should have guessed Marshall, but not very many would. You'd think
I would have guessed
Florida
Marshall.
State,
Because I saw this graphic this morning.
Well, you would have been correct then. Stephon LaFours, who figures to battle Justin Riscotti next year to replace Ragone, sophomore from Baton Rouge. LaFours in the first half tried to complete one to Ragone on a double reverse. It was incomplete, and now LaFours with 2:26 to go. Back out and Ragone back in.
You got to say that the future is extremely bright for Bob Pruitt and Marshall to keep right on being among the winningest programs. They are the winningest program in Division 1A since he took over and they became Division 1A. They just got a program that just self-sustains. People plug themselves in. They got good young players coming up. As for Louisville, I'd say there are some questions though if Byron got the bucket. I guarantee that'll make Coach Pruitt happy that Byron got it instead of him, because he said it cramps me up when they throw that water on me. Our producer Kim Belton tells me that Pruitt already got it, so he'll have cramps running up all down his back, and he'll be miserable in the press conference.
Good kind of cramps there. Right?
Yeah, those are good cramps.
After the completion to Tinch, this is Robert Haskins. So the quarterback got it. He doesn't mind it.
Boy, I guess he's unsuspecting, huh?
Oh, is he ever a sitting target, too?
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
That just takes your breath away, especially when it's already a chilly evening. And you got all that stuff on. It runs all down your britches. Not a good feeling.
Britches?
Yeah, it gets all in your underwear.
You didn't have underwear on.
Tony Slatter makes the catch.
Talking about undergarments.
As I tried desperately to change the subject.
All right, well, we had our grades at the beginning of the game on Leftwich and Ragone as far as going in to the NFL and grading on what they had done, and we'll see where they ended up after this play.
Ragone gets away from Reggie Hayes and out of bounds. And what do the grades look like tonight?
Well, if another flag comes out, Ragone, that's, 5's down the board. I mean, Bill, he did some good, some bad. I mean, mediocre at best tonight.
I think he's had much better nights. Yep. Obviously he has, or he wouldn't have established all the records he has. But that doesn't diminish his great achievements in his marvelous career at the University of Louisville.
Dead ball. Unsportsmanlike conduct against Marshall. It's a 15-yard penalty, first down.
Well, that was on the sideline over there. Bob Pruitt will not be happy with his crew.
How about the grades for Byron tonight?
Well, I didn't think this was his best night, but he certainly made good decisions. His accuracy wasn't what it has been, but he is a great football player.
Ragone to the back of the end zone. Incomplete for Antoine Harris.
Yeah, and those were averages of Bill and I giving our grades, and you saw the rushing. I mean, there's no way you can put down a grade for that. It's ridiculous to try. You just want that kid, Leftwich, to heal up. They said he'll do nothing for the next few weeks. And in a little bit of time, he's going to have a whole lot of people checking out that shin, checking out that arm, checking out everything. Ragone as well, as these guys go through the process of becoming NFL players.
By the way, Leftwich has been voted the MVP tonight.
No way.
But not offensive MVP. That's interesting, isn't it? Denaro Marriott wins offensive MVP. 10 catches, 137 yards, 2 touchdowns.
What was Leftwich, special
He's still
teams?
7 yards short of 1,000.
Yep, 7 shy of 1,000.
Not going to make his 1,000, but he's had a heck of a year.
You have the distance to the goal.
He did it again. What is going on? I mean,
somebody's talking to the officials.
It's getting out of hand.
I'll tell you this, sometimes it's one of your boosters. I mean, Pruitt's down there saying, who is it? What's going on? But sometimes it's just some wacky guy. Well, that's not Pruitt. That's one of, or is he? I guess Bob put a hat and a jacket on.
Well, he was wet. Remember, he got doused.
Yep, that's right. Yeah. Don't put that hat on, Bob. It looks funny on you.
Yancey Satterwhite, defensive MVP. And broken up. And intended in the end zone for Harris by Moriah Anderson. Leftwich game MVP. With those numbers on one leg. Man, how good would he have been?
Boy, oh boy.
If he had had two good legs.
Well, he is just he's a wonder of nature. I mean, he really is gifted, and then when you add the work ethic and his unselfishness, it's just amazing.
Well, I go back to your assessment of his performance in this game last year, the best you have ever seen a quarterback play.
Well, a college quarterback. I've seen some of those NFL.
Oh yeah, but that's taken in a few years and a few good quarterbacks.
This is my 48th year of football, and I hadn't seen anything like him. And typical Byron Leftwich response, his response to not being invited to the Heisman was, you know, that was really great because that allowed me to spend Friday and Saturday with my teammates, and I really enjoyed it. Everything that happens, he finds a positive spin to it.
Louisville trying to get one more score in the final 25 seconds. We're going again to the end zone, and a juggling attempt, but again incomplete. We're going again dropped, intended for Antoine Harris.
And I tell you what, that'll carry over as we project these guys into the NFL, because that is the next stop for them, for more than a few of these guys. But even with Leftwich, we saw it with David Carr last year, and you saw the other side of it with Ryan Leaf when he was one of the top picks. Is how grounded Byron Leftwich is, how grounded David Carr was. Leftwich will go right in. He will devour the playbook. We're going Will the same way. He's another grounded one. They'll devour the playbook, understand the plays. He fires in a touchdown pass.
That's the way he wanted to close. Touchdown to Tiger Jones, the Mobile product, who gets it with 12 seconds to go.
Well, good for Dave Ragone and good for Tiger.
Did you see the look of relief on Ragone's face when he threw that?
Yeah, I think he begged to get back out there. They had already put in Stephen LaForce, and he goes back in the game, takes him down the field, and I think he's just,
Look at this. Watch this. Look at this.
Thank you, Lord.
Oh, look
Thank
at
you,
that.
Lord.
Yep.
Thank you for the small gifts.
He's another good kid. Bright kid
He's a
from
real
St.
good
Ignatius
kid.
out of Cleveland. That was a rival high school of mine when I was at St. Joe's.
He was giving you a hard time yesterday, too. I like it.
Yeah, he's talked about his 2 mythical national championships while he's at St. Ignatius. A fantastic school out in Cleveland. Great program and a great product of it. Dave Ragone.
Two-point try, and again to Tiger Jones.
And I asked him if the Golick statue really did stand in front of St. Ignatius High School, and he said it's not there.
No.
No Golick statue.
No, certainly not there. Though, actually, when I was at St. Joe's, St. Ignatius wasn't a very good team.
Oh, you went to St. Joe's.
I went to St. Joe's. Yeah, he went to St. Ignatius. Now
Okay.
St. Ignatius is a powerhouse.
.38-15. We'll have a kickoff, maybe a snap, and then the bobbleheads will be redistributed. Have you ever seen one with stubble? I'm not used to the
Something happened to Dave. See, something
facial
happened.
hair.
See, his head's tilted funny, and his head won't bobble properly. It got twisted, and he's got a spasm in his neck.
Well, the sacks he had this year.
So see, Byron's is bobbling well. I've got a Byron bobblehead at home because Marshall sent it to me.
Oh, really?
It's bigger than that one. Yeah.
Nice. I have a doll myself. It's a bobble stomach.
You said that.
Boy,
oh, look at Byron hurt.
I'm glad we only got 13 seconds.
Boy, I'm telling you, I'm getting a little giddy up
We are
here.
digging deep.
Wait, let me shuffle through some more papers. I got some more stuff here somewhere.
Well, surely we can do better than that.
Somebody turn his microphone off.
I'll leave if you want.
Well, final thoughts being shared. Onside kick.
Well, I tell you what, that was a great onside kick.
And the Cardinals, I think, are going to end up with it.
Yep.
They sure are.
Everybody was offsides.
Well, what more fitting way to end it on a penalty?
Take up a little more time. We into the 5th hour yet?
We
Turn of the corner.
We're only at 3 hours and 40 minutes right now.
Marshall's had 17 penalties for 147. Louisville 10 for 88 yards.
Yeah, they're below their average.
Louisville is.
Yes, Louisville's below their average. Marshall's about 100 yards over theirs.
We got time, guys. You guys got any shout outs you want to give?
No, I think you've already finished all
Doc,
that for us.
Doc, you down there want to do anything? Any shout outs?
You guys are so entertaining. I'm just enjoying listening.
He's already got his ankle wraps on.
What is a bobble belly?
Oh, come up here. We'll show you.
Let me tell you, it's bobbling right now.
On the way back in the car, we'll show you.
Oh, I think I've got another ride, guys.
There is no foul on the play. The kick hit the ground off the tee, and therefore the contact was legal. Please run 4 seconds off the clock.
Great idea.
Please run the clock out.
13 seconds off the clock. Have a heart.
Please.
All right, down to 9, and I think, barring flags, one more snap and we're done here.
No, they're going to throw the ball. There'll be at least 2 more.
I bet it takes 9 seconds.
Throw a really high Hail Mary.
He'll scramble first of all.
Yep, roll left and launch it.
Well, picture posing time for MVP Byron Leftwich. Closes out with one of his guttiest performances.
Somebody's booing something. I can't imagine what it would be. Unless it's the Golic bobble belly doll. Maybe they heard that.
You're right, 2 plays. Down of bounds.
Yep, down to 4 seconds.
Peg that one, Bill. Good job out of you.
Well, there's some things you just have a feel for.
Boy, Bob Pruitt just coaching to the end.
Bob, don't put that. Get the hat off, Bob.
He's upset over there.
Bob's still coaching ball.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think he's cranky because he got splashed.
He wants a wide rush.
Get wide and rush. Well, yeah. You want to bring it from Ragone's left side, because if he's going to roll left. You either throw from the pocket or go left.
Ragone as time expires. Down at the 15, and Marshall takes another win in the GMAC Bowl in Mobile, 38-15 the final. Byron Leftwich is the MVP. Marshall finishes at 11-2. And Louisville at 7-6. For Bill Curry, Mike Golick, Dr. Jerry Punch, and our entire ESPN crew, Dave Barnett, so long from Mobile. Pardon the interruption. Coming up next. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For summaries and stats, log on to ESPN.com, your home for college football on the internet. Congratulations to the Thunder.
The GMAC Bowl, Marshall taking on Louisville from Mobile, Alabama. Mobile or Mobile, as in one coach of that club. Let's take a look at that in just a bit here. The story of how Byron Leftwich became a quarterback is almost amazing, as the over 8,000 yards he's thrown for the past 2 years. That Heisman hype and NFL hype may have never happened if it wasn't for a day back in junior high when Leftwich was playing wide receiver. A punt sailed in some faraway bushes. The coach turned to see a tight spiral soaring back towards the field. He asked who threw it. When told it was Byron, he said, let's get him to do it again. And he's done it quite a bit since. GMAC Bowl. John Smith, plenty of rumors about him leaving for Michigan State. More on that in a bit. First quarter, Byron Leftwich back. The deep shin bruise hits Denaro Marriott for the touchdown. Marshall up 7-zip. Third quarter, it's 17-7. Leftwich finds Demetrius Doss in the corner of the end zone. Now, Byron had his shin x-rayed at the half. Doctor still let him play, but you can see he was hobbling on it all night. Fourth quarter now. Leftwich going for Marriott again, and Marriott takes it, sneaks in his second touchdown of the game, and 38-15. Marshall dominates in this one. as they take care of business. Leftwich 21 of 42, 254 yards, 4 touchdowns as he again increases his stock for the NFL. Dave Ragone 20 of 45, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, but this one was dominated by Marshall, 38-15 the final. Well, major subplot to this bowl game was the status of Louisville coach John L. Smith. Hours before the game, Michigan State Athletic Director Ron Mason contacted the Cardinals to receive permission to talk to Smith. They got it. Preliminary discussions began. Smith will travel to East Lansing tomorrow. ESPN has learned that he will accept the head coaching job to succeed Bobby Williams. Let's send it out right now to Mobile, where Bob Pruitt is addressing the media after Marshall's victory.
Coach McHale, our offensive line coach, who's also our coordinator, has done a tremendous job with them, along with Billy Legg. All our offensive coaches done a tremendous job. This was we got a great team effort. It's a great place.
We know he's got a great arm, but talk about his heart.
It's unbelievable. I mean, it's unbelievable. He would not come out of the ball game. He's got a great heart. He's the toughest guy I've ever been around. He's an ultimate team player. Most guys would be doing what he's doing right now, sitting down and getting ready to collect the big check. Now, you've seen it for 2 years. If there's one out there better, on one leg, he's better than anybody else in the country.
How approaching the drone is good. He was really having a tough time back here. Really good set up. James Martin, Jonathan Goddard.
They've struggled at times most of the year in protection, and we felt like that we found something in the protection that we could get there when we had to bring more than 4 people, and it worked for us. And our DBs really did a tremendous job. Coach Onorumo really did a tremendous job and him and Phil Almation done a tremendous job of getting them ready.
Coach Pruitt, there was some concern among the Louisville football players at halftime that they were going to lose their football coach tonight. Did you sense that you were playing a distracted team out there?
I had no idea. Don't know anything about that. So that's Louisville, not Marshall.
Take a final question for Coach Pruitt before we get to the players. A final question, if there is one.
Comment on 5 straight bowl wins, obviously.
Well, someone told me going into the game, us in Miami of Florida was tied for the most consecutive wins with 4. We've got ours.
Coach, thanks a lot. This time we'll bring the...
So Marshall wins 38-15. You just heard from Coach Pruitt. We are standing by for John L. Smith. Again, reports are that he will accept the job at Michigan State University to succeed Bobby Williams. That will come tomorrow. Let's send it right now back out to Mobile, where Byron Leftwich has led the Thundering Herd to the victory. Here he is addressing the media right now.
Nah, not really. I just wanted to come out and just play well. I kind of wish I wouldn't have hurt my leg there, because I was doing fine until I re-hurt it. Kind of wish, I wouldn't have hurt my leg and see how well I would have played. But I wanted to go out. Everybody wanted to go out on top. You don't want to lose your last game ever playing in this uniform. So we wanted to come out and just have as much fun as we can and just try to be as dominant as we can.
After 3 years running this show, what do you think you're going to miss most about Marshall?
I'm going to miss these guys. I'm going to miss the guys in the locker room. Miss all the stuff that, they say that next level of business now. They say that level of business, You got to think, you could be playing with guys that's 33-year-old, got 4 kids. He can't hang with you after practice. So, you got to understand that it's different. It's a business. And college football is, the best experience you can ever have as a football player. And that's what I'm going to miss the most, man. Just miss the guys, playing with the guys, the relationships that I had, the friendship that I had with these guys. Been for 5 years now, and these guys are part of my family. It's going to be tough, to kind of separate from them.
I would talk about the keys and having all the success you had against their defense.
Well, we missed some plays. We missed some plays. We should have made some plays. And this is off as we've been as an offense for a while. This is off as we've been as an offense. We missed some throws. We missed some things. We had some miscommunications. And it was just, things wasn't really going our way, to be honest with you. But we did enough to win the football game, and that's what it's all about.
Is this how you like that in your career? Is the statement you made another 4 touchdowns of time, Peyton Manning, and being 4 games with the touchdowns, 2 bowl games? No one's ever done that before in NCAA history.
Well, it's good to be a part of history. Yeah, it's good to be a part of history, but it's not about that. You know, it's about coming down here and winning this ball game. You know, and doing what you can do to help your team win. You know, and we came out and played. You know, I think we played pretty dominant today on both sides of the ball. You know, we had a lot of fun out there, and you can tell from the scenes we knew it was our last game. You know, you had guys out there running around, jumping around. A lot of guys, you know, that wasn't seniors wanted to win this game for us. You know, and they gave us great effort. So I just think we had, you know, a team out there just playing with great effort and great enthusiasm.
Did you re-injure the leg on the late hit there in the first half?
I don't know what I did. I don't know if I got kicked in it or it just twisted the wrong way, but there's no structural damage. You know, once we realized that, got the X-rays in, you know, I just told the old man, you know, I'm going back in. You know, going out there to play some football. I can say that now. Yeah, I just wanted to go out there and, you know, you don't want to miss no part of your last game. You know, and I knew I was going to come back if everything was okay with it. It was no way, you know, I was going to come out and not play that second half. You know, it was my last game ever playing, and I ain't wanted to go out that way.
Is there an NFL team that you think
You know, they got to decide that. You know, that's not my choice. You know, I just be happy.
Who's got the most money?
No, I'm just going to be happy to be able to play on that level. You know, for me, it was a dream, you know, and to really have a dream. You know, it haven't came true yet. You know, we still got a long way to this thing and nothing promised to me. But to be able to, you know, live a dream, you know, and the dream finally come true, it's going to be the ultimate feeling for me. And, you know, what I play anyway, like I told somebody, they had an NFL team in Alaska, and they took me. I'll be over there playing. It don't matter. I'm just going to be happy to play on that level with the best players in the world.
One final question for Byron, if there is one, we'll get him going.
Sounds like you got an agent behind you.
I know. Bobby P. Enterprises.
Thanks.
Thank y'all.